Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. 2 minutes past 11 on July the 13th. Believe it or not, I'm so German, I'm late. And it is unbelievable. But here we are. And gonna have a little fun. It is 11 o'clock in Germany. It is 6 o'clock in Japan. It is 12 o'clock in Kenya. And it is 11 o'clock in Nigeria, and it is 9 o'clock in Ghana. So, and too early for the people in the States to even bother to wake up and watch this. So, therefore, no worries about this. Welcome everyone who is watching. And we are doing multi-streaming. That means people are able to watch either on my screen or on Ikigai Traveler's screen. So, welcome everyone who is joining, and happy to for all of you who are coming. And therefore, I'm wishing you, first of all a very happy Sunday. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some good times. The idea of today's chat was because a while ago, I met Ikigai Travelers randomly, so to speak, on her channel. And randomly means I was strolling, I couldn't sleep, so I was going online, and I was seeing someone in the preview that you can see always on YouTube. You saw someone, what she does best, washing her dishes. and so I thought, okay, there was 1 or 2 viewers or something. So I thought, you know what, let's see who that is. I just saw Ikigai Travelers and had no idea who that was. And in the end of the day, it was really fun to have the interaction with the lady who I'm going to introduce today. So this is actually her channel, and this is what you see when you go to her page, and this is what the ingredients are. So in the end of the day, the good thing is that there's a lot of information that you can see here. There's videos, obviously. We go into that in a little bit. We go a little bit into what the ingredients are. There have been lives. She's live regularly. So her name is Elena Bex, and I will actually put this into the chat because I would like to ask you guys to not watch from my screen today, but watch from Ikigai Traveler's stream, so that she can also get some more watch hours. I'm almost there. I just need 18 to get my 3K for tomorrow. So do me a favor, go to Ikigai's Traveler's channel and have that we can all go there. I'll put her channel here in the chat, and then you guys can watch from there, and that would be really sweet if you did so. Let me just put that in the chat, and then we can start the official program, so to speak. So Iki's channel, should write channel correct. That is when you're blonde and you didn't have enough coffee. All right, here you go. So I pinned that on the chat, and it would be great if you connect to her channel and go to her channel and watch from there, so that you can get some watch hours. And first of all, good morning, everyone. Also on the channel of Ikigai Travelers, aka Rebecca. Thank you all for coming to visit her. And it is very important for us to have audience here. So whatever is going on here, feel free to write in the chat here on the tool that we are using. We can see both chats at the very same time, and therefore very happy to see. And so I would like to say good morning to So Vibes. I met her on Ikigai's channel before. Anywhere, anytime, JD, darling, good morning. Hello, how you doing? 8 counts is in the building, and we have hopefully a couple of more coming. So therefore, this is the channel that you can see when you go to her. When you go there, it is really, really cool. There's a lot of information. We go into that in a minute. There's a lot of things going on in Japan. What is the style of living? There you go again. Me on a diet, and what you see, food. Okay, hallelujah to me. And so that is why I will never lose weight, because of people like Ikigai Travelers. The reason why I do this talk actually today is to blame Iki for everything. So let's have some fun. And for those who remember, like 2 weeks ago, I had a spontaneous live session on a Friday and did an open microphone session, and therefore she jumped up without a camera, but at least we did talk like a good 40, 30, 45 minutes, and it was really fun. So without any further ado, let me put this away a little bit. So no worries, I'm getting smaller again soon, So let me just introduce you to the person who we are talking to today, and I'm really happy she's here. It's already 6 o'clock in Japan over there, after 6 o'clock. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, next time I have to do a drum roll. So let's get Rebecca up here. Ikigai Traveler is in the building. Good afternoon to you.
Hi. Thank you so much for the intro. Wow, I'm like smiling. My cheeks are hurting.
Yeah, you see, that is a good thing that the host can see what's happening backstage. So you were not lying. Yeah, you were, kind of amused, so to speak. Very nice to have you, and very nice to. Do you actually realize that this is the first time since we know, and that's like 3 months now, I believe, or even 4, that this is the first time that we speak face to face in real time?
Yeah. I mean, other than the other stream that I hopped on.
Yeah, but I mean, face to face. Yeah, real time talk. Yeah, real time talking we did a couple of weeks ago, but real time talking, face to face, both on camera, and we don't have to type. Isn't that nice?
Yes, you're right. My camera was off last time because the thing is, I honestly, first of all, this whole thing, I want to thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I don't even think we'd be here right now, because you're the one that said hello, which I really appreciate. And then after that, when you let me hop up on your live stream, I was about to fly to Thailand like in a couple hours. So I wasn't even ready at all, but I was like, you know what, let me just jump in. And I had so much fun. Like, I was just chatting all the way to the airport to my husband about the live stream. So it's awesome that you put this together. So seriously, thank you. And everybody, like on my side, if you guys want to go and give Ragus some love, I would really appreciate that, because he put a lot of heart into preparing this, and I really appreciate that.
Of course. Oh, by the way, I think your husband will send me $50 or $100 later by PayPal, because he was so grateful that he was able to pack his suitcases in peace, because you were busy talking to this guy on YouTube. Sorry, my sense of humor.
How do you know I'm the one that's always like, all right, guys, let's go.
Because you are who you are. It is a matter of fact. And when I see you, how planned you are with your kitchen stuff, that was the first impression I had. I mean, it is how it is. This is not me being like this anti-Vogue thing or something. First time I saw you, what did you do? Washing the dishes. And so, and whatever you do, you're like, okay, this is, you could be so German, by the way. You do this like, okay, 8:05 leaving, 8:06 arriving, 8:07 put in suitcase, da 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 da. Yeah. I think you have a timeline planned for like 4 years in a row or something. So
yeah, guilty as charged.
Yeah. So obviously, when I came to your channel the first time, I had no idea who you are, obviously, and obviously you did not have any idea who I am either. Just some another stranger on the chat, and obviously you were, and obviously you don't know if there's another troll coming, like that comes so very often, or is it finally a normal person who can write in complete sentences. I would never consider myself normal, but I would say I do have a certain sense of humor, and I don't ask this usual, let's say it how it is, bullshit questions. I just don't do that, Then obviously I went to, I'm one of those rare going to a channel first before asking where you're from, what you do, da 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 da. So I saw that you're in Japan, and that really was interesting, because I'm really interested in the Asian culture in general, and then having the opportunity to then speak to an expert living there from abroad, because obviously there are so many rumors about Japan and the way of living and the cultural stuff, and everything is just what was this thing again? Hello Kitty and total crazy people doing role plays in the streets and all that stuff. That's the cliche, that's the stereotype. But today I'm really happy that first of all, that you are here. So thank you for coming. And I hope that you had a great Sunday so far. But also, I'm really happy that we have the chance to talk, because I would really like to understand and people here as well, from your point of view, living like 2.5 hours away from the United States now. That's a bit more, right? So living
It's a lot more.
living abroad from the States, from your home, having the opportunity to experience that in a very young age. By the way, Ikigai just turned an adult officially recently, so she is now entitled to drink beer in public. So, maybe you would, I'll just give you the microphone, and maybe you can just introduce yourself a little bit, tell a little bit about yourself, give a brief introduction to the people who don't know you.
Yeah, everything you said is exactly right. Even the rushing people when it's time to go. I wish that trait would help me keep my closet clean, but it doesn't really seem like it helps with that. But as far as like being very type A, yeah, that's the truth. And I think that made it harder moving to Japan, because when we first moved here, it was hard. And actually, honestly, I started the YouTube channel, and I see you guys chatting too. I appreciate you guys. When we first moved to Japan, it was a big culture shock, because we had lived in San Antonio, Texas before living in Japan. So we moved to a very small town, and people were like seeing us. I remember one of our neighbors, there's a tradition where you go and you give your neighbors presents when you first move in. So you'll give them like a letter, and you'll say like, hello, here is my name. Here is my family. I'm happy to be your next door neighbor, and I've brought some cookies or something, And I remember one neighbor seeing me, and because I have tattoos, I don't know if they're visible. No.
Yeah. Obviously, that's
I have tattoos. And so one neighbor saw me, and she was like, uh-oh. And she like basically shut the door. And I was like, this is a lot harder than I thought. Like, I thought like I could just like, smile, and then just like, things are going to be easy. But it was a culture shock. And so I think when I first started to appreciate the little things, is when I was like, well, maybe I'll just start a YouTube channel, because I already had a YouTube channel, but I was feeling really low, and I had deleted everything. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just share the little things, like the fall leaves, or, the beautiful countryside. I'll just share the little things. And then little by little, that was kind of making me feel better, but I was still busy. I was working. So gradually over time, it's like, actually, I can edit now, And so then I gradually took it more seriously. And then I stopped working about a year ago. I'm about to start going back to the office tomorrow. That's a long story. But when I stopped working full time, I really started focusing on making a lot more content.
Yeah, I do understand that. What else? Just want to do something real quick. Say hello to Nate Chovy, who just gave me a raid, so to speak. Liz Nazra is in the house, and yay! And that on a Sunday morning, and I didn't even go to church. Well, I never go to church, but that's another story. So I can understand the cultural shock, because it was the same for me when I moved to Bavaria in Germany, because I'm not originally from here. And when you then see the first time people wearing lederhosen and all that stuff, it's like, I understand, but slamming the door in front of you is a bit harsh, I think. You didn't do anything wrong.
I think so. Tattoos in Japan are associated with organized crime. Like, the guy that's like sitting in the corner in the big black jacket that opens, his pocket and is like, hey, you want to buy something? Like, I think that's the image this person had in their mind when they saw me. So afterwards, I kind of saw it differently. In the moment, it hurt my feelings a lot, but yeah, I think, and I'm sure in when you moved to Bavaria, like you felt the same way, at least once, where there's a situation and you're just like, this is not what I'm used to. I don't know what's going on. Like,
well, as you know, I told you quite a few times that that I love Oktoberfest and everything, but in the end of the day, what people don't know, or what people never thought, is that you know, people are kind of, let's say, the first time they see it, when they move here, it is a total cultural shock, because only in Bavaria you wear those lederhosen and those things, and it's kind of weird. And you know, in the end of the day, people are getting like totally weird, but you get used to it. But so, for how long do you live in Japan now?
It'll be 3 years in October.
Wow.
This
Have you
October.
ever been back to the States since then for like a vacation or something, or never?
Nope.
Okay. No,
Because it's kind of a weird situation. So when we first moved here, I had like a lot more buffer when it came to like work and all of that. I had a lot of work benefits. But my job that I had when I first started working here was like, I don't want to like drag them, but it was rough. It was really, there was a lot going on there. And so I ended up leaving that job. We moved here. And then when I left that job, some of the benefits that I had, like maybe an incentive, like a travel incentive, I don't have anymore. And I've made jokes like financially, like right now I'm good. But it's not like a lot of like I'm not burning cash right now. You know what I mean? So flying back to the States is a bit expensive, and then on top of that, the exchange rate and all that. So long story short, flying back to the States right now is going to be an expensive decision that I don't think I'm quite ready to make yet.
Fair enough. No, I mean, I'm not going back in regards of going back. I was thinking of a vacation, like, hello, mommy, cook me some of my favorite food or something like that. You know what I mean? And
even that is expensive.
Well, I remember, I used to live in England, in the UK, like 20 something years ago, near London, not even in London, near London. Trust me, I also know what an expensive lifestyle is if you almost have no money, because the payment was shite, to say the least. But the interesting thing, what I think is, I mean, as far as I remember, our first conversation, and I believe I was the only one in the chat by then, and then later came 2-3 people. It was, and that's why I'm so glad we can talk real time today, because it is like, you know, the one fingertips, you know, from typing all the time and all that stuff. And it is, you know, real time is a lot better. So just have to do one thing, a little correction. So the raid did not come from Nechovi. The raid came from Kanini Kanene, and I'm really appreciating that. My blessings, my unholy blessings to the Diocese of Kisi. So next time I'm going to do this, I'm going to put my gown back on, so people understand. So what I really like, what I like on you, is that you're very authentic also in regards, or especially when it comes in regards of living abroad, because the stereotype of many Western people, regardless where from, the nose is very high, you know, like, you know, I'm from the US, I'm from Germany, I'm from wherever, you know, these people there or something like that. I had that I saw that many times, especially when traveling to Thailand. Yeah. I saw Europeans, and I was in Thailand, I was just a tourist, but they were like, you know, these people. And I was like, how dare you? How the F dare you, you know? You're in a foreign country, regardless as a tourist or living there even. You have the opportunity, you have a chance to live somewhere else, have the comparison to where you are from, you know, what is better, what you do, what you like, what you don't, and stuff. And that's why I really liked starting talking to you. I mean, obviously time difference is always against us, but on the other hand, you know, the way that you talk about not only the stuff in your live stream, but also in your videos, you know, the way that you describe things and the way that you know, tell people, okay, this is what we do here, is really unique in a most positive way. And I think cultural shock, and that is what Nate Chubby is saying, cultural shock. Let me just put that in here. Let me just remove this and let me put this here. So Nate Chubby is saying, traveling abroad, you face a lot of cultural shock. not necessarily a shock, I would say, but let's say differences. It's Sunday, so let's keep it nice. Let's differences. So that is one of the comments that have been given, and a lot more. And obviously, in the end of the day, I think, would you not say now after 3 years that it was maybe the best decision in your life doing that, going abroad, be brave, go away from the comfort zone, but now having a wonderful life there, obviously not alone, but you have a wonderful life there and you have a great time. You're adapting the cultural stuff, but still keeping your culture, the Western culture, inside you as well?
I do. I actually, I guess I don't really think about it a lot, but I mean, sometimes I wonder how different things would be if we didn't move here, because it changed a lot of things for us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of why I talk about things the way I do on my channel. I want to be honest and authentic about like how things are here. So I don't want people to be like, oh yeah, because I've seen some YouTube channels where people are like, I moved to Japan, my life is perfect now, I don't have to work hard, I don't have to do anything, like it's just, perfect. There's no problems, everybody accepts me. I can see my chat. I just want to say real quick, because I can see my chat. Everybody is like blowing up the chat. This is my first time doing this, so I can see you guys. I'm gonna come back to you.
You should actually also you can see them here in StreamYard. You can.
Can I put them up?
No, they're both chats. They're both chats here.
Let me see if I can.
Both chats are already in StreamYard, so you just have to focus on one screen. So meanwhile, while you look for your groupies, hello Ikigai Travelers groupies. So I see Soph is here, and we have a lot of people coming. Mora Kanene is in the building. People are quite busy for a Sunday. I'm really, really impressed. So obviously, I do exactly know what you mean. There's a lot of those equivalent videos actually are from people who are going to Dubai, who are living in Dubai. Yeah, everything is cool, no taxes and whatever, but they do not mention the high amount of costs of living. And I know in Japan it's not cheap at all, but you get good quality there usually, as far as I heard. We're going to go on that in a minute, because obviously, as I mentioned it already, I'm going to blame you today for not losing weight because of all your food things that you put there. So, but on the serious note, I believe when people moving abroad doing YouTube's thing, that's regardless if it is in Japan or wherever, there are two stereotypes. One, they overdo it. Yes, now I'm rich and I don't know, got my golden fingernails and all that funny things, from my personal slaves every morning. Or there are the other ones who just show the plain life, like not in a bad way, plain life, but the usual life. What am I doing in Japan? And then again, and that is why I like. I got to put this up here again, and that is why I like your screen and actually your channel. An ordinary girl living in Japan. So you're not the queen, because obviously they already have an emperor. So you're just a person living there with your husband over there, and living an ordinary life, going to work, support your husband and do the household and whatever. Obviously travel as much as you guys can, because you want to see the country, right? You want to get used to the people.
Yeah.
And watching your videos, and again, guys, this is a channel. The channel is already pinned on the chat in my channel. So for those who are in my chat, please connect to the pin. And even, go to the chat of Ikigai. Go to the chat of hers. Don't stay at mine. I only need 18 watch hours, and I will have them by tomorrow morning. So get out of my chat. Go to Ikigai's chat and say hello there. She can do more for her watch hours then. So looking at the particular videos, and what I really like on those, before I'm going to ask you a question on this, you do not, and this is what is so wonderful, either on the live stream or on your videos, you do not play with a stereotype. Oh, okay, I only do when it's spring season and the cherry blossoms come. I only do a tea ceremony, and that's it. No, you do ordinary life in the streets, in the bushes, wherever in Japan. showing your life, explaining things, and do it not only on your live streams but also on your videos. So before we go into 1-2 videos of yours, what actually gave you the idea to go to YouTube and do the kind of diary on your life in Japan?
I think I've been interested in YouTube for a long time. And I think like when I was feeling sad and I started posting the couple things that I posted and then I could look back at them, I thought it was fun. It kind of started just like that. And then after a while, then occasionally I would see somebody come back and leave a comment or something. So then I'm like, oh, I wonder how they're doing. Maybe they would like this because they like this video or something like that. And so then I started posting more. And then the other thing is I started taking YouTube more seriously when I stopped working, because I was like, well, maybe I can monetize, because we talked about you talked about your watch time hours, which if you guys have time to support Ragus, if he only needs a little bit, if everybody just does a couple minutes, could probably square that away really fast. But yeah, I was like, well, why not? Maybe I can, take YouTube more seriously. So then I realized that in order to monetize your YouTube channel, you need people to subscribe to it, but you also need people to watch your videos. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just make more videos and I'll live stream. And I think for me, my YouTube completely changed when I started live streaming, because then I had all the wonderful people that are in the chat right now communicating with me more frequently. And so then I started learning about people's personalities and their individual preferences. And I really think that's how it inspired the channel to be what it is. So I've nicknamed them Team Ikigai. So that's who they are in my head. They're like my mission control. So like if I see that they really like something, then I'm like, okay, we like this video of the poop museum, so we're gonna try and find another outrageous museum to go to, and see what everybody thinks of that, because it's and I'm sure you can relate for your channel. If there's certain things, certain live streams that you've done, or certain videos that you've posted, and then you get the feedback from it, and you realize it actually impacted somebody, then you get this great feeling from it. Because it's no longer just something that you did. It's something that you did that helped somebody else or entertained them or made their day better. And then you're just like, yes, I can do that again.
Yeah, I mean, it is getting kind of addictive, right? I mean, not necessarily addictive, but you know what I mean. Once you're into it, then you're really like, it is like you see first results, you see some clicks, and you see some feedback. You get like comments and stuff like that. By the way, for those who are in my chat right now, I have put the pin again from Ikigai Travel. So do me a favor, guys, go watch from her channel, because she needs a lot more watch hours for her monetization in 20 years. So let's get her there, and let's get her some. And because I only need 18 as by this morning. So tomorrow morning when I'm gonna open my studio, I will have the 3K there. I'm 100% sure. So
it better be there.
So tomorrow I have to apply, because on the 15th start the new regulations. So I have to be ready to get my second application out by tomorrow, whatever I have to do for that. No, but so getting into YouTube, and I see your quality videos, and I've sent on one of your videos, I sent a relatively long comment, if you remember. I believe that when you started YouTube, you also had no idea about anything whatsoever, like like anyone else.
Yeah.
You're most likely thinking like, all right, I check my smartphone, I take some videos, I upload them, have some fun, and I get rich in no time. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought as well. that's what I thought as well. And see, the funny thing is, Soph, calm down. We are just joking around. Calm down, Soph, calm down. It's Sunday. I'm just kidding, Soph. Don't worry about it. All good.
It's all banter. It's all banter.
All good.
It's all not cool. 100% serious. So
no, it's 21 years, not 20. So there we go. So, but I think you had the same thing, right? Like, I take my smartphone. I'm living in Japan. Come on, I'm cool. Taking some selfie things and stuff, upload it, and the first million will come after 1 week or something like that, right? So
I could show them the Tokyo Tower, and then on the flip side, thank you for the comment from Anywhere Anytime, JD. And I see all of you guys, by the way. I feel the exact same as you, and the same with your music. Your music is great. So and what I've seen when you play live, your comment section and the stream itself is like a party. So like if anybody has not seen when Ragus streams, just check the World of Ragus channel and see when the next live stream is, and just pop in and check it out. Because it's the energy, because you would think you would only feel the vibe of like a party environment if you're actually at a physical party and there's people around you, but the live stream feels like a party. Sorry, I went on a tangent, but it feels like a party.
Yeah, rumors say that people skip Sunday church because they're too tired from dancing on Saturday. So they blame the father all the time. No, but
I put the stream in the background and I still went to church this morning. So there's no excuse for them. But your streams are great.
But by the way, talking about church, I mean, Japan is in Asia, obviously. And in Japan, there is a bundle of many religions. Like there's like literally almost everything, mostly Buddhism, I would believe, and in several ways. So now, as you mentioned that you are going to church, was it hard for you to find a community where you can go, or is there something just around the corner, so to speak?
My church is not just around the corner. It's a little bit of a commute, which is part of why I wanted to schedule the stream for the afternoon to make sure I have enough time after church. But yeah, it wasn't really difficult to find a community, and my church is cool because the pastor, he teaches the sermon in English, and he's assisted by a translator who speaks the entire service as well in Japanese. So he'll go over a portion of the Bible, and then she'll hop in and translate the same portion. And then like because we have we'll sing and stuff like that. So when everybody's singing, we'll sing in English and Japanese as well. So it's a really unique experience that I've never really experienced outside of Japan, because it's very intercultural, which I really like about it.
I understand that, but it is cool that the opportunities are there. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I understand, Japan is a relatively free and easygoing country. Not easygoing because there's a lot of regulations, and we come to that. But I mean, regulations in behavior. I mean, but the thing is that I mean, you can walk free. There's no big thing going on, and it's a relatively safe country, unless Fukushima is doing a fart or something. But that's another story. So
as far as if you want to walk around and stuff like that, or I don't know, do something really odd, for example, I ran the Mount Fuji International Marathon, and there was people in cod costumes running dressed as a mackerel or whatever. The fish finished before I did, which I was not happy about. But I mean, if you want to dress in the same outfit on the train, I don't think anybody is gonna harass you. Maybe they're gonna side eye you, but discreetly. I think in general it's expected to be polite. So if you're existing and you're just living your life and you're not really bothering anybody else, it's likely you won't get bothered. It's when you start causing meiwaku, which I don't think I'm saying the pronunciation exactly correctly, but essentially it's to cause trouble for others, that people will start really feeling uncomfortable with you.
Gotcha.
So maybe my tattoos might scare somebody, because they might think I'm, a criminal because of that, because of stereotype. But it's behaviors, and it's going against like the status quo. And there's some cultural things that are like, maybe people are not going to go around correcting you, but you're definitely going to make people uncomfortable if you don't follow. For example, if you eat like a bowl of rice, one does not stab their chopsticks upright into the bowl of rice. It's very, very disrespectful, because that, so I learned that years ago when I first came to Japan, because a Japanese coworker asked that everyone be informed of this belief or this tradition, because some of the Americans were not aware. You're just eating and you stab your chopsticks in your rice and have a conversation or something, but just doing that is like really not super respectful, because it's like associated with like burial and mourning and funeral practice, to my understanding. So it's not something that you're supposed to do as part of daily life. So it just seems like very like flippant, like in the US, for example, like we don't, if you're at a cemetery, you wouldn't just go skipping across the tombstones. It's disrespectful,
Right.
And so doing something like that could also be offensive. So I think for someone who wants to visit Japan and stay for a little while, it helps to like take cues from other people around them to make sure that what you're doing is not bothering people. And if you're in doubt, ask. And if someone says like it's really, really troublesome, just maybe like it's not going to hurt anybody if you just don't do certain things,
Understand.
And you mentioned with Thailand as well, like people, observed people being very like entitled and disrespectful when they come to other countries, which is like another reason why I care so much about my YouTube channel, is because I'm hoping that maybe someone will look at Japan a little bit differently and not come here and act disrespectfully, whether intentionally or not. I mean, some people are just, I don't know why they think it's okay to go someplace else and be rude. But hopefully someone will, take a hint,
Yeah. But talking about a hint, I really have to say quickly hello to Kirky Lily. Kirky Lily and Rebecca, I can really recommend you. You got to connect to her because she's awesome. She just wrote somewhere out there, oh yeah, I love his talk shows because he's talking like a waterfall, like me. Obviously, that's true. She is awesome, and also all the others in the chat who are appearing with a black name for you because they are on mine.
Okay.
My chat, you can also access my chat later because I always have the opportunity there for myself to reread the chat when I rewatch the live a couple of days later. So the chat is appearing 24 hours later, and you can connect to all these people. Also, I would like to say hello to and namaste to Ramchandra Technical, who visits my channel every now and then and is doing a lot for channel support other people. And obviously also hello to Nightbot. Nightbot is always there. I don't know why. I think I've employed him once, and so Nightbot is always there. And yeah, good to do this. And now you actually put something very interesting on the spot, so to speak. And I would like to go exactly onto that. You mentioned the misbehavior or the accidental misbehavior. I mean, obviously there are stupid people in this world who do that on purpose because they think there's something better, whatever. But now talking about exactly that, if you watch any kind of film which is related in Japan, if it is Alice in Borderland, or if it is the old Bruce Lee films, or whatever it is, this Asian thing, let's call it like that, stereotype, I believe, is it true that in Japan it is everything about not losing your face?
I think I don't remember the names of it in Japanese, but I think Japanese people, and this is coming from friends who've told me this, might describe it as having 3 different faces that you show. Maybe your face that you show people at home, your very best friend, your brothers and sisters, your spouse.
By the way,
then maybe
I'm not doing poor elections. I'm just having a cigarette. So in case you see white smoke, I'm not going to Rome anytime soon.
Okay. So maybe a face that you'll show at work, and then like, a face that nobody sees, right? So I don't know about, it's hard to describe, but when you live here, you kind of observe people checking themselves, because like I mentioned earlier, the Meiwaku concept, like you don't want to go around being disrespectful or disruptive. I think there's some pressure to perform, and I think that in a lot of things that I've seen in Japan here, there are many things that are very orderly, even the way that people conduct themselves. Like when I had the opportunity to wear the yukata, like there's a lot of steps, very organized, neat steps. There's a certain way that there's like a belt, which is called the obi, and you like wrap it around. There's a specific way that goes. We did a soba cooking class, and there's a certain way that goes too. You don't just mix up the flour and then chop, 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 and it's done. It's very, like, even the way, like when you're, the chef has like this dowel, giant dowel thing, and it rolls over the batter. And there's like a motion that the chef does, the soba master does with his hands or her hands to create like an even distribution of weight on the noodles. So that way, like the flatness is equal. It's not like one part of the noodle is thick and the other part is really thin. And so I think there's a lot of thoughtfulness to most things that people do. And I think people apply that just in their daily lives. And I think that for me, to be honest, I think that's been something that's hard socially, because I think it makes it harder to be friends with people.
Mm.
Because like I don't know how to explain it, but like if I'm talking to you and I'm feeling comfortable, you can kind of tell like what my level of comfort is to some degree. But if you notice that I constantly change it up, or like maybe one day I'm more comfortable and other days I'm not, or in certain settings I'm very withdrawn, it might make it more confusing to interact. And I think the social rules here is just like something that I haven't fully learned to navigate. And people here tend to be private, and like there's a concept of not like burdening and causing trouble to others. Like it's there's a lot of things where it's like, maybe you're like, well, this person didn't want to be my friend. Maybe they didn't want to be friends, but they also didn't want to burden you by bringing up everything that they have going on. And like from an American perspective, when you're close with somebody, it's like, oh yeah, before we start this stream, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting a cold. I've got my Kleenex. You know what I mean? And so it's just a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
All that to say.
I got you on that one. But I think it is, I've met a lot of Japanese people in Germany. So maybe as a short intro to that, maybe, if you will, the thing is that that I'm originally from Düsseldorf in the West, right? Mm-hmm. And Düsseldorf is called also Little Nippon because Little Nippon, yeah, because a lot of European headquarters from Japanese companies are located in Düsseldorf. So they are supporting a lot of they're supporting a lot of my club here and there, my favorite club, which is always somewhere. Let's not talk about that. I would start crying. But at the end of the day, they are very close in their community. They don't separate. They really are including themselves in the community of Düsseldorf, and it's very nice. We have all these Japanese shops there and all that stuff. There's a lot of cultural things what they offer, to the people of the people of Düsseldorf, to learn what is going on in Japan, tea ceremonies, all these things, sushi, obviously stereotypes, sushi things going on. And, at the end of the day, it is a good thing. Now, talking about the behavior, you said you spoke about three phases. Empire, good morning. So you talked about three phases. Now, obviously, when you're at home, your husband is not from Japan, he's from the US as well. So obviously, you can act what we would most likely call normal from our Western perspective. So you do you just do your thing. Now,
Yep.
when you have Japanese guests in your house, is it then some kind of similar to what you show at work, or is it just? I believe it is hard to speak about personal things to Japanese people who you just start knowing, to say the least.
I
Like,
would
for instance,
agree.
if you had a problem, or if you and your husband had a fight, or if you, I don't know, if you have feel homesick or stuff like that, I think you don't speak to people in Japan about that, or Japanese people, when you know them relatively new, right?
I would say so. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I am so sorry to step out, guys. I have to use the restroom. I'll
No,
explain my.
no problem. You do whatever you do, and I'm gonna go to the website again, or actually to the channel again. So I would strongly recommend to go to the channel, because it is really interesting there. You see tons of videos. You see a lot of. There have been many funny shorts as well. As you see, she's very busy on her channel. She got like almost 1,000 videos on there altogether, and she got 1.74K, so almost 2,000 subscribers. So please subscribe to her channel and be so nice. Also, while Iki is on the way almost back to the stage, I would like to say hello to everyone who has just joined. We are multi-streaming, so for those who ever wanted to travel to Japan without paying an expensive ticket, this would be your chance. The channel is pinned up there, so you can just also join from Ikigai's travel, Ikigai Travelers channel, and go to the chat there, and feel a bit Asian feeling, you know what I mean? And now, as we are going to do into that, again, there's a lot of things going on, and there's also very good explanations, actually, how things go, how things go in Japan versus US. Watch it, because it is really cool, but it is not this, I'm from the US, and, this things in Japan also. It's not like that. It is really very authentic. It has a very good esteem, if I may say so. And it is very nice seeing those explanations just from an expert's perspective, rather than whatever thing, and I've seen that here in Germany many times as well, from when tourists are coming from wherever. The Asian ones, and this is the most positive stereotype ever, are the most curious ones, and they ask a lot of questions rather than prejudging. So I'm getting you up back on stage, and what I would like to understand now, since you have been there, when I was on your chat the other day, I believe it was the beginning of this week, by coincidence. It was morning your time, or I went to sleep or something, I don't know, and we had a little chat, and then we actually discussed to do this right today.
Yes, I remember that.
The toilet thing came up with your friend Soph. Now, you're not okay, guys. Before you now think, okay, Ragus is not getting totally insane. No. So here's the reason why. There are certain rituals that people in Japan very often do before even entering the bathroom itself. As far as I understand, there are separate shoes that you wear to go into the bathroom, and the, let's say, technical equipment that you play Game of Thrones with. I try to keep this as family friendly as I possibly can for Sophie watching this. So the going to the bathroom is kind of a ritual by itself, right? And we can keep it as family friendly as we possibly can. But do you have separate shoes for your bathroom at home, or is it just that you have to wear them when you're elsewhere?
So I'm actually working on like a short video explaining the restroom thing, because some of my team Ikigai people were kind of like outraged when I explained the toilet. Easy there. You okay? So my
I was just remembering that outrage moment a couple of days ago.
my toilet here in Japan has a bidet. So like you can use that to, spray some water, if you feel like you need to freshen up. Okay, we're still keeping things cute here. We're
Family
keeping
friendly.
things family friendly, right? So there were some people that were very shocked by that concept that perhaps they can, do that. So I'm working on a video to explain it. It's not that scary. But to answer your question, usually at hotels is when I see the separate shoes. So I have seen that. Hello, Quirky Lily. I see you in the chat. Usually if you go to a hotel, they'll have like the shoes that are for the toilet area already in there. So those are specifically for the toilet area. And then the other shoes that are like just for around the house, because usually you'll wear slippers in your house. I'm not wearing them, but I often wear slippers around the house, especially if it's cold. Or I have cats, so sometimes their hairs get around, so it's nice wearing shoes. But usually people wear like some slippers in the house. It's considered, this is another example of like something that's rude, that like I think most people know about this one, but you're not really supposed to wear your outside shoes in the house. So you're not supposed to, like, I don't know, walk the dog and then come back from the dog walk and wear the shoes in the house. Even if, because I think from an American perspective, I grew up in a household where we didn't really care. So long as the shoes were not muddy. Like if the shoes are soiled or you stepped in something bad, you don't want to like walk around the house with those, But here it's like you absolutely don't. So when you first come into the home or the hotel or whatever, you would change into separate shoes. And then some places have like toilet shoes. We don't have toilet shoes at our house. But yeah, it is a thing. It's definitely a thing.
Because I think that with the shoes, especially with the spare shoes for that, there is I forgot the name of I think it's Solo Travel Japan. It's a Japanese guy on YouTube who is traveling a lot with a ferry, with trains and whatever, and with a bus and all that stuff inside Japan, right? So, and also he went to Germany sometimes, but I wasn't aware. Interestingly, you're so right. So two stereotypes that I've seen on his videos, and he has a huge channel, is first of all, everything that you travel public with, like train or especially ferries, they're not necessarily chefs in the economy class. Everything is vending machines, and vending machines are all over the place in Japan, as far as I learned. But also this thing with the bathroom, going back to that, you have your spare shoes, you have your slippers or whatever. You have to take them on when you go in there. You have to take them off when you go out of there. You do your thing.
Wouldn't wear those around the house.
Yeah, you do your thing when the pot brims in abundance and stuff like that, and to keep this. I remember the outrage, and it was only in writing, and I was sitting here laughing so hard because as I mentioned in the chat already, I do have a friend who is Japanese, and they have bought an apartment here, so they got 2-3 years more than I do. So, and they have refurbished it completely, and they do actually have a Japanese throne in there, as I call it. And he kind of is kind of German because he came here when he was like 10 or 12. So, but he still took a lot of Japanese culture. He still got the Japanese culture in himself, obviously, because he was raised by Japanese parents. So he got that, and I really have to say, after he explained, okay, look, and I have to say, it was the first toilet ever that I saw with a remote control.
Oh, ours doesn't have a remote control, but it has a control panel.
Yeah, he has a remote control that you can use, and then you do whatever you have to do with a pot sprinkle abundance thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And and I was like, okay, so let me see. Press some buttons, and he even created it like in a shopping mall. Like once you go in there, and once you lock the door, right?
Yeah.
So there is no key. There is this whatever lock, which is then programmed to wherever it is sound system in the bathroom, so that you can do the alternative breathing without anyone hearing it outside because there's music in there.
Yes, yes, yes. So a lot of places does that like automatically. So like, for example, we went to see the Superman movie. I had told
Mhm.
you we're gonna. So we went to the movie, and at the theater they have like this nice like whole restroom layout or whatever. As soon as you go into the stall, it automatically starts playing like bird tweet, and forest sounds. So like it's louder than whatever activity that could go on in there, and so it's supposed to create like a sense of
Maybe that is why Twitter was invented
discretion.
in the first place. Maybe that is why Twitter was invented in the first place, because someone didn't want to feel disturbed. But it is, but on a serious note, it is very interesting to see. And I mean, if you're interested in certain places of the world, and I'm very interested in going to Japan one day, it's in my top 3 of the bucket list for sure. I've been to
Absolutely.
Thailand, I've been to Indonesia, but Japan is a totally different level. And because I would really like to witness a tea ceremony, but not in Tokyo in one of those tourist things, but in some village somewhere, some
Yeah.
small town, if there exists anything like that.
Yeah.
And having the authenticity of meeting the real people. That is why I like to travel, if any possible. But now, as you're living there, 3 years is quite a while, and I know. Me living as a kid away for 3 years is, I know exactly what you're talking about. So now you do have the comparison. I mean, 3 years is a very good time to have a very good comparison on living in the Western world, regardless of US or Europe, or living in Japan and having the Asian culture. And you have traveled in Asia as well. So now, obviously, you also managed to get your food the way that you like it. And obviously, you also had to learn about Japanese food in the first place, the
Yeah.
way they create it in Japan, not the way they create it in the US or Europe, because they make it US or European friendly. So living in Japan for 3 years, having a regular life there, like, getting up in the morning, do your work and whatever, going to sleep in the night, meeting new people, being in a new environment. As a matter of food, now you talked about a cultural shock when you got there, right? Was it also a cultural shock when you got there, and or are you so open you just literally eat like everything, at least that you can say I've tried it and then I can say if I like it or not?
So the one thing is I was vegan before I moved to Japan. So by vegan, I mean I did not eat any meat. I did not eat any cheese. I did not eat any egg. I avoided honey. So that was my diet before moving to Japan. And when I realized we're officially going to be able to move to Japan, I said, okay, I'll switch to being vegetarian because that's going to be a little more relaxed. But at this point, I don't eat shrimp or like oysters or fish or any of that. I really avoid it. There's some things, because Japanese cooking is like it's very like some things like soy sauce might have fish in it, or some soups might have like oyster broth or something like that. So some things I may not know 100% what it is, but if I believe it's vegetarian, then I will probably try it. The food here is very different. There's a lot of food I love here, and there's a lot of food that was culture shocking, like very shocking. But I think over time, and this is something I was wondering about you. So we're gonna flip the script, and I want to ask you, because I know that you lived in Nigeria for a while. How was that switching from Nigerian from German food to Nigerian food?
It was tongue burning. Because so in Nigeria it is a lot of spicy food, spicy in regards of hot spicy,
Yeah, I know.
That's the reason why I was always called Oibo Pepe, because here's the thing: Oibo Pepe, Igo Yellow Momo. That means like white man getting more and more white, right? Because they think that my skin was gone. Now, the thing is, give a little story on this real quick. When I was I was in Nigeria when I was between 9 and 12 years old, right? Little boy. For me, it was the best time in my life, I can say. So here's the thing: they eat this little peppers, right? The little peppers, the
Yeah.
little red chilies, I believe we call them in the Western world. But they eat them like they're candies, like, and they put like 2 tons of them on 2 potatoes or stuff like that, because they like it. Similar to
Yeah.
Thailand,
Yeah.
very, very spicy food. It is brutal. However, I thought, if the Nigerian people can eat it like candies, give me one, So I bit
Right.
in one, and I was
Uh-oh.
like 10 years by then, and I was really crying because of the pain that it had, because it was freshly harvested. And the paprika is no problem, the big one. It's sweet
Yeah.
and nice, everything.
Yeah.
But the peppers, holy moly! Recently, last week, I was at an African festival here in Germany, an hour ago from here, because a
I
fellow
think I
YouTuber,
saw part of that on your channel.
yeah, and an African fellow YouTuber was performing live there, and I did the live stream and some recordings for him there. And there was fufu, right? Fufu is the ultimate food for everything in Nigeria, right? So you can,
Yeah.
and then I had okra soup and with a little chicken. So the okra soup looks a bit slimy, people who don't know that. I love it. I loved all the food over there. I just learned one thing from that very incident: don't eat spicy because it burns twice. Happy, happy. Going back to the music-related bathroom. So um, the thing is, I believe the only thing I would never try to eat is eat cats and dogs and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I'm very open-minded in regards to food. But I had to learn from that very incident to always say, when I'm abroad somewhere, to say, please, not spicy. I do like a little bit pepper on it, like 2 or 3 little pieces on a 500 kilo meal, but no more, because I just cannot cope it. But it was not a cultural shock. It was, for me, when I was in Nigeria, I was so surprised. We are talking about beginning of the 80s, like
Mm-hmm.
1980s, like just 2 days after World War II ended. So, um, kind of means I'm getting old. So
Okay.
the thing is, I never saw a papaya. I never saw a pineapple. I only saw in cans, and obviously we knew bananas, but I never saw oranges that skin was green. I was like,
Okay.
why is it not orange, right? Because different things in Africa. Um, we had all these fruits, that coconuts falling down from the palms directly into our garden, and it was like, what's that? Yeah, that's a coconut. And I was like, okay, but I thought they're in a can. I was a little boy, right? So
Right. Right. Right.
so there we had all these wonderful fruits. And then going back to Germany, I had the bigger cultural shock, to be honest, because we had to eat German food again. I love German food. Don't get me wrong. I love my schnitzel. I love my stuff here and there. But the variety that you had in Nigeria versus Germany was a lot bigger.
Yes, I've had that explained to me. I mean, I've never had the chance to go to Nigeria yet. Hopefully, I can soon. I hope so. But like, it's just interesting to hear, because I've heard from other people too that there's so much fruit, and the availability of it, and the diversity of the types of fruit that you can get that you can't get anywhere else. It's just so interesting, because like, I don't know, like in the US, it's like, oh, you're really, I feel like you're really, out there if you've tried like lychee or dragon fruit. Like, I feel like
Yes.
that's like,
Well, if
whoa.
you connect to people like the AA Empire, who is in the chat, for instance, she's from Nigeria, and she's even from the area where I used to live. So we are discussing currently a project that that I'm gonna see my childhood places again after all these years. But go to her channel, go to the channel of Nachobi. She's from Kenya, living in Saudi at the moment. So we have a lot of international people here as well. So you get all these food varieties on those videos. And I'm very sure that even in Japan, there's African shops somehow where you can buy certain things. And but it is really cool that the people at the African Fest a week ago, where I was doing some videos and stuff. They were Nigerians, and there's a short on my channel if you want to watch it. Where I think I call it fufu, okra, and pidgin English, something like that.
Yes,
It's like
I've
2
seen
minutes.
that one.
Okay, so you see, they asked, "You want pepe?" You see,
Yeah.
no pepe for me, because no. But they ask because they know that Europeans cannot cope that hardcore pepe like the Africans, especially Nigeria, do, because they grow up with it, right? So Thailand, the same. I
Yeah.
was like, I was in some food store, and I was like, and I totally forgot to say not spicy. That was my first day after arrival, long flight, and I was like, I need to eat something, right? And I'm hungry, and I wanted to eat a soup, so I went to some place and ordered a soup and with some beef in it and stuff like that. I was like eating the first spoon, and I asked for milk and bread right away, and I knew next morning it would not be the most fun moment ever. So
Were you like crying as you're eating it?
I was
Where like
eating
it
it.
makes your eyes stream and your like nose stream?
Everything.
Yeah. Okay.
I had a thick throat. Even from the first spoon, it already burnt until into my chest. I was sweating. I was kind of gaining, my cheeks getting big and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I really felt like knocked out, kind of. And next morning, I knew after breakfast, I would not have the best time ever, to say the least.
That's happened to me before. But that happened to me. That my situation was self-inflicted. The last time I really suffered, like truly suffered from eating something spicy,
Yeah.
is because we were in Texas. We tried Carolina Reapers, which at the time I think they were the spiciest pepper. I don't know if they were still the spiciest, but I had like a flake, like not even that big, like the tiniest flake, and I was like laying on the floor thinking like maybe I'm gonna have to go to the hospital after this.
Well, to be very honest, I will be very, very polite, not talking about US food experience today, because I'm very polite. But let's go back to Japan. Let's go back to Japan. Trust me, it's better. We can take that offline. But we can take that offline. Otherwise, otherwise, Soph will not only be totally scared of the bathroom story of yours to come, but also most likely going to start putting a machine gun towards me because I'm saying what I have to say. So no, I'm just joking around. So wherever you are, you're good. Don't worry about it. No, but now you're living in Japan for 3 years, and most likely you met friends because you're a very easygoing person in regards of getting connected, right? So you're very open-minded, and you're very outspoken in the most positive way, if I may have to say that. So was it hard for you to find your first real friends in Japan, or is it still in process? Like, I know these people for 2.5 years, but we are not yet friends, or something like that. How hard is it to make friends in Japan? People you can trust and who value your time.
If I'm gonna be completely very, very honest, and then I have to preface this with this has been my experience, because I know people will be like, oh, well, that didn't happen to me. It's not like that, you know. My experience has been it's fairly easy to connect with people, especially if I'm able to have like a conversation at least partially in Japanese. So that way, like there's, you know, a lot of times the person I'm speaking with might even speak more English than I do Japanese, but just at least that effort was made, you know, to try and have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Making the initial connection is not that difficult, I think, but being able to like make a sustained friendship, like, you know, I'm going out of town, can you watch my cats? Or I'm just feeling really sad today. I feel, you know, whatever. I just need someone to call and cry to. I think it's a lot harder. And like I tend to be maybe a little bit more private in general as well, but is our audio okay?
Perfect. I'm just listening.
Okay.
That doesn't happen very often. So.
I would say it's tricky. Like I wouldn't say like people here are 100% unwilling to be friends, but I think like it can be tricky. Like I'm thinking of specific connections and relationships I have. I think the closest Japanese connections that I have are Japanese friends who've been outside of Japan, or are married to foreigners, so they may be a little bit more open to somebody who doesn't really know the rules and nuance or maybe speak the language fully. And I have some friendships of people that are, they've lived here, they've never really gone anywhere else. But I would say that for those friendships, they're more very polite friendships, like, excuse me, do you have a moment to talk on the phone? Or, it's just, to me, like, if I'm gonna like really like get into the weeds with somebody, like, man, I had the roughest day, and I gotta talk crap because my coworker is doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm just, or whatever. Like, I'm having like a at-home face day. I think it's hard to reach that level of connection with people.
God, yeah. I mean, obviously, as I think the older we get or the more we grow in life, you always take a bit more time to consider if that person would be a friend or if you just dump him and go. But I think in Japan, you don't just really dump someone and go. I think it's another way of living there, so to speak. And considering the fact that now there's a cultural clash in regards of Western meets Eastern, or Western living in the eastern part of the world, I think it is a very big step that you did. Now, obviously, you're young, and you're still, with modern technologies, you're still connected to home, right? So it is not completely lost, thank God. I remember when we were in Nigeria, there was nothing like that. We didn't even have a telephone, so we had to write letters.
3 years of a gap. Basically.
Not necessarily a gap, but letters took a while, obviously, to go back and forth. A phone call was brutally expensive these days. We use whatever amenity, not even doing a phone call anymore, right? So, because technically, if you speak on WhatsApp, it is not a telephone call, even though you use a phone, but you don't use the phone gadget insights to do a phone call. You use WhatsApp, right? Or you use StreamYard, or you use Teams, or whatever you use. And so therefore, there are so many opportunities doing that online, and therefore for free, because the internet and the Wi-Fi is paid anyway. So in the end of the day, I think it is a cool thing that you at least have the connections to home, which is essential, I think, for everyone in life. Now, you have traveled quite some places in Japan. And I remember we briefly talked about some Hello Kitty thing as a joke, but
I really would.
What I would like to understand now, as you traveled Japan quite a bit, because obviously you wanted to see where you're living, you wanted to explore places. What was the most weird place you have seen in Japan in that 3 years? The most crazy place, weird place, most funniest, you choose. Hello Kitty store in Tokyo, or?
Let me think. From a pop culture standpoint, probably the Poop Museum, because I thought the Poop Museum was gonna be. It's all good fun. I thought it was gonna be like. I was curious about it because I heard a lot about the Poop Museum. It's actually called the Unko Museum, which means the same thing in Japanese. But I thought it was going to be like an educational thing, like the digestive system. So I was all ready to learn, maybe a little bit grossed out, but ready to learn. But it's like very cutesy, fun for the most part. And then they'll have like some games there. They have some games there that are just kind of like, literally, like there's one game where it gives you like a countdown and you step on the poop. And I posted the video on my channel. Like after this, it's one of those you have to see it to believe it.
Is it real poop or is it fake poop?
It's all fake poop. It's all fake poop, and there's no there's no smells. Okay, there's no smells involved.
Thank God.
but it's just, I know we've been talking about poop a lot, but I think that was one of the most strange experiences that I like. So when you first, okay, hold on, very quick story. So when you first enter the poop museum, there's a row of toilets, okay, and there's like a person that briefs you like, welcome to the poop museum, and they do English and Japanese, and then they're like, all right, if you want a souvenir, you have to sit on the toilet, and they have rainbow color, like colorful toilets, and then you sit on the toilet and you like pretend that you're pooping, so sit on the toilet, and then they'll give you a poop. I probably have it somewhere.
Don't. Okay, so guys, for those who have just entered, no, we are not doing any nasty fetish talk here right now. This is
silver. Silver.
It is. Now I understand why Soph was so devastated the other day. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are not doing any nasty fetish talk here. It's just Sunday, so Ikigai just got out of church.
Yeah,
I didn't even go into church, but so this is just an experience that she had in Japan, that there is a poop museum, which thankfully does not have all the special aromas from alternative breathings and all these funny things. But Japan is a crazy country in certain things, obviously. And, well, actually, we would call it crazy because for them it's normal to be a bit more colorful, a bit more loud and stuff like that in certain things. But what I would
insert, I think on a day-to-day, people tend to be, very orderly, very proper. They're on time. They're dressed right. They do things the right way. They think of others. And then when you see things like anime or the poop museum or something like that, it's an opportunity to be your inner child or be quirky or be, different. And I think that's something that I really appreciate about here, like nightlife. Like we were in the first time we visited Osaka, we were just wandering around and we went to like a little bar, and they had like a tabletop bar area, and there was a group of guys singing like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. And this group did not speak English, but they knew these songs word for word, and they were hitting every note, and they were putting their heart in it. And it's just, 1 minute this guy is like a salary man, he's got his suit on, he's got his tie on, he's tired or whatever, and the next minute he is like a member of the international boy band that all his friends know and love. So,
well, I heard that karaoke is a big thing in Japan anyway, well, in Asia in general. As a little side joke, our very good friend Kirky Lily, she actually lives in a karaoke machine, right? So when she does a live stream, she always does karaoke singing, always. So I always jokingly say to her, oh, you're living in a karaoke machine again? Okay, have a nice day, and stuff like that. So it's a very Asian thing. And I know that in Japan it is like kind of common sense that people after work go for a drink together and then sing karaoke, and no one is ashamed about not being able to sing, actually?
So this is another thing. So for me, I have never worked in the Japanese work culture. Some of my acquaintances and friends have, but I've never worked in part of the Japanese work culture. So my understanding of it is from the observation level, from reading, from conversations with friends and acquaintances, and just from what I've seen. Like if I go to Tokyo, watching people, like people watching. And my understanding is like your office may have a policy, like where like, say you are the supervisor and you're like, all right, after this live stream, we're going to go and get a drink. It's kind of technically rude to like be like, oh, no, I'm busy. Unless you really like, I'm going to the hospital to get checked out or something. Yeah. So I think my understanding is that it's not always like, yay, I think some people may have their own reservations, but then because it's expected, you do what's expected of you. So I do wonder about that sometimes. But then for me, I've never worked in the Japanese work culture. Just my friends, or like coming across people, because like sometimes if I'll go to a place like Tokyo or something like that, I'll have conversations with people that are out doing nomikai, which is like a drinking party, like after work drinking party. That's what they call it, nomikai. So it's just from conversations, but it seems like, it's the thing to do. If the boss wants to go, then you would go with the boss, unless you have a real strong objection.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I understand, and I've talked to my friend about that, who is Japanese, as I said, that literally until you retire, you kind of live more in the company rather than at home in very often cases. So people are kind of feeling obliged to work like 24/7 if necessary, or at least just be there. And as you said, leaving with the boss, so nobody goes before the boss goes. And obviously, the boss stays there. Nobody stays there 8 hours, as far as I heard in Japan. So 9 to 5 only exists on papers in many, many companies, and especially the big ones like Samsung and stuff. All these companies. But having said that, how is it actually? So you say you're going to start working again soon, and but obviously you have friends from other countries living in Japan as well.
Yeah.
So how is it for them? Do they do the Japanese style, or do they do the 9 to 5 thing?
I think it depends. So like I've seen some people that's maybe they're here as teachers, or they're here as like models, like that could be a thing. So it kind of depends on what their work situation is. My situation is like more of a diplomatic thing. So my work has been primarily like on the US side. Although oftentimes working here, I will have Japanese colleagues. So typically speaking, with my work, I would have Japanese colleagues. So it's interesting because, like, from my experience when we talk about working in Japan, it's been an experience of like a cultural melting pot. But the American side is a dominant side, and then there's just like for example, like time off and stuff like that, or working hours is kind of dictated by the American side. And then like maybe work culture, there's things that people like would include for the Japanese team members. And that's been my experience. And I actually really enjoy that. And I noticed when I was working with more Japanese colleagues, it helped me like interact with people more socially, and also it helped my Japanese improve faster. And I noticed that some of my colleagues would come to me and be like, "Hey, I want to study. Can you help me with my homework, or can you help me with my test?" So that was something I really enjoyed. Hopefully I'll get to experience something like that again soon, because I really liked that.
Now, you're far away from home, and obviously we have strived it once in your chat that obviously sometimes you feel a little bit homesick, obviously, because Texas is Texas, Texas is home. You're there for 3 years, and you're going to start a job there very soon. So literally tomorrow. So how serious, or have you ever seriously thought of going home sometimes within these 3 years, and as we say in Germany, break your tents down and go home? Or is it just like you got familiar with it, you settled down, the roots have been rerouted, into the ground because you're now settled in and stuff? How comfortable do you feel in Japan, and how happy are you to stay there, versus how much do you sometimes want to go home for good?
I think Japan itself as a place feels like home in a lot of ways. Like there's a lot of things, even outside of the people, outside of the culture, the country itself, it feels like home. It's summer right now. I don't love the heat because it gets really humid here. But like if it's a nice day and you can take a walk, you can hear like the cicadas singing. There's like these bugs and they like sit in the trees and like they scream, kind of like crickets, but they have like kind of a melody to them, you know, and there's certain flowers that bloom. And so like after living here for a couple of years, it's like, oh, it must be May or June because the hydrangeas are blooming. Or like, you know, fall is starting because the maple leaves are turning colors. And so it's little tiny like daily life things. And I'm sure Germany has quite a few of those too, because I've heard some wonderful things about Germany, like as far as the beauty of the country, and seen online too. So, but I think that's something that really helps Japan kind of find its way into my heart. And then the people that are really kind. It's not always the case, but there's some people that are just really, really kind. Where you're just like, wow, I was not expecting that. So I think it's gradually made it feel like home. I do miss the U.S. And I have considered like, you know, breaking down my tent. But I would say that it's not as simple as just, you know, all right, I'm done, you know, or whatever the case may be, because you know, moving internationally is expensive. We have pets, you know, we kind of have a life here, and then to move back, it's like, okay, what about working and all of that? So it's I don't think you want to move back to the U.S. with no job, no place to live. All of that costs money. So it's just I'm a marketing major in school, right? And so the big thing they would drum home on like a lot of things is like opportunity costs. Opportunity costs. Is the opportunity to move back to the States worth the cost to move back to the States? Is it worth the cost now? Will it be worth the cost later? And then is the opportunity available as well? Like, is the job market something that supports that? Is it, you know, there's so many things that go into the pot. You know, it's not just, and the longer you live overseas or the more different places you lived, I'm sure each place has its own challenges too. But living in Japan long term, Japan has some very strict rules for people who can live here long term and who can't. So that's another factor. So it's not as simple as just like what my feeling is on it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Just before I go into that quick, I would like to say hello to Agatha Chow, who just joined, and Kanini Kanene has sent you some people onto your chat, so they're at your side.
Thank you.
They're on the hello from the other side. So just mentioning that, and now, interestingly, we have strived a little bit the difference, you know, not even the differences. That's what we want to do now. Well, we have strived a little bit the behavior skills that you need to have living in Japan, especially as a foreigner. I would like to ask you something, and this is really interesting for me to understand. As you're from the US, me from Germany, I've never been to Japan, so this is a huge advantage that you have. But living in Japan, you have witnessed all these, let's say, unwritten rules about behaving. You mentioned the 3 phases. You mentioned, you know, you have to be a bit careful on how you behave, that you don't accidentally do a mistake, although they might forgive you the first or maybe even the second time because you're a foreigner and you don't know. But as long as you try and as long as you don't kill someone on the first appearance there or something. But what I would like to try to understand, you got the comparison, like being a citizen from the US, obviously, living there until 3 years ago, going to Japan, living there now for 3 years, traveling the country, meeting the people and all that stuff. Now, when I consider people in the US or Europe in general, I think what I've witnessed so far, most likely we people are mostly very straightforward, right? Like, as you said, now I'm having a bad day. I painted my toenails wrong. Now they're, I don't know, purple green instead of whatever, you know, and stuff like that. So, leave me alone. And F off and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
Right, absolutely.
so now you're living in Japan, you cannot do that anymore. But isn't it like kind of a breeze of fresh air for you, even after that time, knowing that people are not necessarily being a Karen in the first place, if that makes sense?
So I think people here, the Karen prototype that I think we are thinking of, I've not seen it as much here. I don't, I think it's like an endangered species here, that concept. But I would say like people here have their own ways of being particular about things, or like, I wouldn't say things are just like there's never anybody ever making a stink. For example, we went to Nagasaki to go to House Temple. So like my recent videos have been about that because I just like edited that whole trip. And like we went to this hotel, and so the hotel has like a buffet, which hotel buffets in Japan are like chef's kiss. They're fantastic. And they had like a omelet station where you can like, get a maid to order omelets. So you can decide, like, do you want cheese? Do you want potatoes? Do you want green onions? Whatever inside of your omelet. And like, my husband pointed out to me, like, oh man, like some of the people are being like real particular about the omelets. And so then I went later to get mine, and I was just noticing like some of the people were just kind of like bossing the chefs around and just kind of like, I'm here at this hotel and I'm paying my money. So like put it, but they're not, I wouldn't say like, okay, they're like super rude. I would say it's more like a little bit stuffy, or a little bit like, oh, well, I am important. I'm a guest here. Like,
Yeah.
kind of, it's like a different, it's not like the full, like when I think of like a Karen, it's like, I paid for this trip, like the,
Oh, the manager.
yeah, have you seen
the manager?
the airport videos, and the people are throwing the computers across the desk?
Yeah, I remember. Let me just say hello to quick to 2-3 people. Wanga ladies in the house, Empires in the house, African Sports. Bozere, my darling, how are you doing? Sassy Global Concept, I think I saw her as well earlier. I'm so sorry I didn't greet you personally. I was in the United States for 3 times, and 3 different places, 3 different, always work occasions. However, the 3rd time I was in North Carolina. That's like, I would say like almost 3 years ago. And I had to do something there. And I met my Karen. I had my personal, she didn't throw anything at me, but I had my first, so I only knew Karens from YouTube, obviously. So guys, if you want to see a Karen, I'll write the name in the chat. Karen Experience on YouTube.
Is it on your channel?
No, just type Karen. So for guys, if you want to have a laugh, I just put that in the chat. If you ever want to have a Karen experience without having a Karen, trust me, it's dangerous if you're near them. Go there, and you can watch them freaking out entirely. Totally weird. However, having said that, yes, I had my Karen experience there for sure. Saturday morning, it was my first day, and I needed to buy some stuff to cook some food in the motel where I was staying, and I just got there, and I was like, and I heard it was 9:30 in the morning or 10 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, who is yelling? And it was, the grocery stores in the US are big, right? Even the small ones, they're huge. I mean, you get lost in there quite easily if you're not used to them. So, and it wasn't even a Walmart. It was I forgot what it was, some dodgy place in Durham. So I was somewhere there minding my business, buying some things, eggs and stuff, as you do. And all of a sudden, it felt like it was 500 kilometers away because, again, the stores are huge. And I was like, it was not a mall, it was just a store, Food Line, I think it was called. And most ridiculous place ever to buy food, I'm just saying. So got there, got my little things, and then I went to the cashier, right? Because obviously I'm a good boy, I pay my food or whatever. And then the screaming got louder and louder and louder, and I was like, what in the Lord's name? And then I asked the lady who was working there for putting something in the shelves, and I was like, ma'am, excuse me, is it dangerous to go to the cashier right now? And she looked at me like, no, it's just that's just a Karen. And I was like,
told you?
she told me, yeah. And I was like, because the cashier was still like 60 meters away. I don't know how much that is in foot and feet and stuff like that, but I was like, okay, so there was all cashiers were occupied from someone working there. So I looked where the Karen was. She was exactly in the middle, of course. Where else, right? Because exact opposite was the exit. You need to be quicker. And I was like, I go to the right-hand side to the gentleman at the very far end, and so I walked another 5 hours just to get to the cashiers, just to avoid this Karen situation. And I was reading, and I was like, geez, would that ever happen in Japan? Unless someone is drunk, obviously, but would that ever happen in Japan like that? Like that kind of the way that you know a Karen from these stereotypes?
I don't think so. I personally have never seen it. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, because everything I say about Japan, everything I say about living here is like based on my experience or what somebody's told me, what I've lived or whatever. But I've never seen somebody act like that. I have seen, welcome back, Sophie. I have seen where in work culture, it's acceptable for a boss, like a supervisor, to kind of like scold junior employees. And I have seen that be an issue where it's like somebody is like, you can see like the boss goes over to them and then they're just like, and you're like, I wonder what that conversation was about. But it's not like a regular thing. Cause like here, like, so my Japanese, I can speak basically like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old child. But Japanese is kind of nuanced. Like, probably like, I don't know, does Germany have different dialects? Like if you go to like a different area where it's like this person is speaking German, but even the words they're using, it's just in that area, they just use. So Japan has like in Osaka and Okinawa, when I travel out there, and even when we went to Nagasaki, I was having a hard time understanding them because those places are not super close to us. Fukushima, I was surprised I could actually understand people pretty well, but like south of here, like it takes like a couple hours, I feel like, for my brain to reset and then pick up on the interchange words contextually. Yeah. So Japanese, like what I'm getting to is Japanese language has like keigo, which is like a polite Japanese. And so like you, to your boss, your supervisor, you're gonna take a bath? All right, see you when you get back. Your boss or your supervisor, or like if you met like, the CEO of a company or something, you wouldn't be like using casual speech. You would typically use like a more formal way of speaking. So like that's already a thing in the first place. So I think like considering that's like, if you're the employee, you're going to talk differently to your boss. There's already like a rank structure or like a hierarchy scenario there anyways. But I have seen like a couple scenarios where it's like, I don't know what's going on with that supervisor, but like when they came around, the like employee is just like,
gotcha. Guys, by the way, the chat is very busy for this time of the day, and I'm very happy about that. Just want to let you know, guys, if you have any question, feel free to pop it in the chat. This is supposed to be interactive. There will be no open microphone today because I know everyone still is ironing their face. It's morning time in Europe, so therefore, it takes a while until they're old. I just did that like yesterday. I keep ironing like constantly. Sophie, have a nice bath, and remember, the toilet video is still to come, darling. So I would love to see your reaction on that. To be honest, after your panic attack in the chat the other day.
You told me not to make it.
Yeah,
Sophie,
I know.
Sophie said not to make it, but
she kind of
I'm
ordered you.
gonna make it. I went to the Sky Tree, the Tokyo Sky Tree, and there was a tourist. I'm not gonna say where the person was from, but there's a tourist, and the person pulled me aside, and they were like, "This is very embarrassing, but like I don't know how to use a toilet here." Like, and the communication was like there's a language barrier as well. And I'm like, I got you. Like, it's okay. This is how you do it. But like, I'm not even like thinking of it from the standpoint of judging, because like maybe a month or two ago, and I've lived here for almost 3 years, I accidentally locked myself in the bathroom in the train. And so I'm like in the bathroom, like trying to get the door open. And there's like a way that you open it. But instead of reading the sign and just following instructions, I'm like, why isn't the door opening? And so as I'm pulling on the door, trying to get it open, it's like making this like click, 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 click. And I'm doing that for several minutes. And then I'm like, okay, hold on. I've been here too long. Like, let me just stop and look around. There's got to be instructions somewhere. And sure enough, it's like unlatch the top latch first and then da-da-da. And so I open the door and it's been making the click, 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 click. And so everybody like looked up when I came out and then just went back to like, oh, I'm looking at my phone. I'm sleeping. And I was just like,
okay.
I got off the train and walked and got on a different car because I was so embarrassed. But no one said anything, but I was just really embarrassed. But that's part of why I want to make the toilet video, because like realistically speaking, I can't even be judgmental. Something like that's happened to me. Like,
Yeah, but I think it's a different if something happens because of the lack of knowledge, obviously, or if you're a Karen.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, if I and as I said, I've met a lot of Japanese people because I'm from Düsseldorf and stuff. And the thing is that I mean, obviously they're also in bad moods. We're talking about human beings, whatever country they are from. So everyone has bad days and all that stuff. But as far as I never saw anyone freaking out like a Karen would do. I mean, they all have what we call the French word contenance, right? It's like where behavior, you swallow it down and you shout it out later when you can. The third phase or whatever you call it.
Actually consider that your behavior may have some consequences.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, that can happen everywhere. In the United States, you just get arrested and go to jail for 50 years, but that's another story. On the, if you, I mean, I would say, I think from my personal point of view, and I've never been there, so this is not me being judgmental, but it's just my thought. I think I could definitely consider living in Japan, but I think it would be a huge challenge for me to kind of survive there in regards to society. And I'm not judgmental. I'm just sharing thoughts, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, because I think you and I, we got something in common. We are relatively outspoken. We are relatively easy to connect to each other. And I think it might be the case the way that I am, and obviously I'm old enough to, look in the mirror and know who I am in regards of what I'm doing, how I'm acting and stuff like that. I'm doing a lot of nasty jokes on YouTube, which you thankfully have never witnessed. Otherwise, you might have never spoken to me anymore. But let's say
some of them.
Oh, okay, shoot. But let's say,
I watch your content.
You do what?
I watch your content.
Hallelujah! Thank you so much. I have one viewer. No, I'm joking. But I think I might really have struggles there. Finding real friends in regards of real friends from Japan, right? Not experts, but Japanese people. Because I think they might feel the cultural shock, vice versa, right? Like, what is that big white guy? Why? Like, why? Just give him a drink and give him a cookie and he goes away or something, stuff like that. So,
I think if you go to the right environment, like if you have shared interests, like I think you can make connections with people. The making lasting deep friendships has been something that I find more challenging. But like if you go to like, an area where everybody's just like, at the bar and singing, especially if they find out that you're into music. Actually, this is something else that I've noticed is like house music, electronic music, EDM, stuff like that is actually pretty popular here. Like
it is
pretty
indeed. It
popular.
is indeed.
Like in Tokyo, if you go to the right club, that might be all they're playing. So I think like, if you had like a commonality, like you could definitely strike up a conversation and like have like a really like positive conversation, like an enjoyable conversation. But I
Yes.
think I think for me at least, it's the tricky part has been making like lasting friendships because I think
Mm.
the cultural gap is like is a bit tricky to get across. And I think that most of my friends that I have like very very deep connections with are like more so maybe a little more intercultural. But
Mm.
I think some of that is because like again like both neither side wants to impose or like hurt somebody else's feelings. Like I can be quite outspoken, but then at the same time, I feel like there's a time and a place. And like I'm an ambivert, so like I can be extroverted like now, but then I can also be very introverted and almost shy. And like if I feel like I don't know the rules in a social situation, or I might like accidentally hurt somebody by something I do or say, even if that's not my intention, and it never is.
Mm.
I mean, if it's my intention to like hurt somebody's feelings, I'm sure they would. I would make it known. I would have to put on my Karen hat or something. You know what I mean? So like, otherwise, if my Karen hat's not on, I'm really not trying to hurt somebody's feelings. And if I feel unsure and I'm not sure, like, what do I say? What do I do? I might be more reserved. And if the other person's doing the same thing, like, how is it going to be? If both people are pulling back, then there's the connection there is not happening.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say like, okay, this is all because people here won't reach out, because that's like kind of hypocritical, because I know I pull back just based on I don't want to overstep. I don't want to do anything that's like culturally rude or something like that. And like we talked about it briefly earlier, like we alluded to it, people doing rude things. And even like making content here, it's like I try and be extra careful if I'm like
Mm.
live streaming and I'm out in public, because unfortunately there's people that have come here and like literally taken advantage of the fact that people here are trying to be polite and trying to just like be understanding of other people. And instead these people
Yeah.
like show every disrespect possible. And so I really want to make a strong distinction
Mm.
between myself and that. And even some other YouTubers I've seen, like, and I'm not perfect either, but like I don't want someone to watch multiple. Maybe here and there someone would catch a comment and be like, oh, well, how did she mean that? But if someone sat and watched my content extensively, I don't think they could draw the conclusion that I don't care about Japanese people or the country of
Absolutely.
Japan or the culture. And
I
I wouldn't want that.
I do remember I caught you online on some Saturday walk that you went somewhere in the afternoon. You went to
Yeah.
meet your husband somewhere, I believe, and you were at a shop something before, and you passed a shop or two, and you showed the windows.
Yes.
And I remember, and that is so pointing out what you just said. I remember you walked the streets and you were talking, you could really see the screen, but me was there and someone else. And you was just like, oh, I'm doing this today and I'm going to meet my husband now. We are going someplace or whatever. And I have to be a bit careful with the camera because I don't want other people to be on the camera who do not belong to the stream. And I was
Yes.
like, "Whoa, hallelujah, sister!" There you go. And I did the same. I always do the same when I film outside, which I don't do very often. But if I do something outside, I
I've
always
caught a
make
couple
sure.
of them. I love them, by
Huh?
the way. Those are great. If you guys like on my side, on the Team Ikigai side, if you have not seen the Germany content, please check that out because it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying about the consideration, being considerate of thinking of like other people around you. You don't want to just shove the camera in their face and record them. And there were some people doing that. Like they'll see someone's wearing a kimono or something and go and take pictures of them without permission.
Oh, there's something I saw on YouTube. There's this that exists. It's called geisha, right? But obviously
Mm-hmm.
they're not that geisha anymore. But they're now there to entertain. So the geisha nowadays is kind of for tourist things, or even for the people at home, to entertain groups of people, like in a family-friendly way. They go for a drink or they play games or whatever thing. But when they walk in the streets in Japan, obviously they wear this costume, this kimono thing, and whatever thing that you have described with the belt as explicitly fixed, and the hair and all that. This 500-kilogram makeup per square inch in the face and all that stuff. Face is painted white, but tourists. So, and I heard that there are some districts where certain streets are banned for tourists
Yeah.
because they do pictures without any permission whatsoever, or they did pictures without permission.
Yeah.
And that is not allowed because those ladies do not want to be photographed unless it is in this safe environment of wherever they entertain the people, like if it is a bar or something, or if it is a restaurant, but they don't want to randomly be photographed on the streets. I don't want to do that, don't want to have that either, right? So I don't want anyone to, hey, hold still, I want to take a picture. Well, why? But funny
Especially a
enough,
random person you don't know.
exactly. But funny enough, one thing, there was Oktoberfest is one of those things where people come from all over the place. We've talked about that recently, and we have to. We were like, obviously Oktoberfest. A lot of Asian people coming. They plan their Europe trip so that they either start at Oktoberfest, getting sober during the rest of the trip, or being sober during the trip and end up totally wasted on Oktoberfest. I have to say, most of the Asian people cannot stand the German strength of the Oktoberfest beer, which is still even extra stronger. It's up to 8%
Really?
alcohol. Yeah. Up to 8%, 9% alcohol. So, and if they drink 1 liter, which is the only size of beer you can get on the Oktoberfest, actually, one of them, and they sing the Champions League anthem and said, yes, I did it. They raise the empty glass, the Holy Grail, and they're done. But they take a lot of pictures, obviously, as Japanese and Chinese people do. That's a stereotype that exists. And I remember on the first day, 2015, I was there. Like I'm kind of living there when it is. It's like 2.5 weeks, and it's only like 20 minutes away from me from the underground train. Lucky me.
How long does it go on, Oktoberfest?
16 days.
Oh.
Hallelujah.
I didn't know it was long. I thought it was just like a weekend thing. Because here, when there's Oktoberfest events, it's always been, I think, a weekend, like one weekend.
This thing, what they call it, it's please.
Okay, sorry. Go on.
The real thing goes on up. So the longest one was 18 days even. So you should not forget, and I can send you the link on IG later. You can even watch when everything is built up. And that takes up to 1.5, 2 months until everything is built up, all the tents, the attractions, carousels and all that stuff. But interestingly, so I remember in 2015, I don't know why, maybe my belly was in shape because of the beer baron, all that stuff. I had my lederhosen on, and I was in a tent with 12,000 other people, right? Because that is how many people get in there in just one. So, and there are 10 of them, and there are 15 smaller ones. So just that you get the idea why there are so many people coming over the Oktoberfest. So, and all of a sudden, I was approached by a group of Japanese people with the Nikon cameras and all that stuff, with the good, they have the good stuff, obviously, because it's cheaper to buy that in Japan rather than Europe. So all of a sudden, I was person of interest, and I had my 15 minutes of fame because they all wanted to take pictures with me. And I was like, guys, there's 11,999 other people around. Yeah, but you got the nice belly. And I was like, so you see, first time ever that good and a good amount of food paid off. So I was like, geez, let me just say hello quickly to a few people. Our very president is in the house, Mr. Goga. Good morning, sir. And actually, good afternoon to you.
Hi.
Eunice Talata made it in, and hello to Ghana. So for Eunice, she just got up most likely. It is just 10:57, so just before 11. And Nico Rada, I forgot to greet you personally. I'm so sorry for that. And so it is very nice to see people coming and having them in the chat. For those who are now coming, we are talking to Rebecca, aka Ikigai Travel. And let me just put this on the stage real quick so that you see the website and the channel. Also, there's a website that she has. You can go on that channel and subscribe to hers so that you see that's going on. Although I see you did still. Did you? Oh yes! Look at that! You can even buy her a coffee. Look, the spiritual advice of Father Ragus is paying off at the end. So do me a favor, subscribe to her channel and say hello to her, and say and get her some attention and some love. She has 1,700 and something subscribers, so we can easily make it 1,800 by the end of the day if we all go in there and say hello and spread some love. So we were talking a lot about cultural differences, about some food stuff, and living a life in Japan as an expat. But what I would like to know, and also she said she's currently feeling well there. So obviously there were times when she wanted to go home. Now, what I would like to know is, has any of your relatives of your closer family ever visited you in Japan, other than online?
Yes. Goga has a question, and I'll answer that. Ragus. Goga was asking, would I say the efficiency here beats that of the United States? Trains being on time, people waiting, in their lane so they don't run into each other, etc. And I would say yes and no. And I think this answer may surprise some people. I would say yes, absolutely, for the trains. For even the airport, when we fly out of Japan, the efficiency, the precision, the professionalism from the airport staff is top notch. Like, it's like top tier standard, right? Trains are typically on time. I think that the station teams put a lot of pressure on themselves and each other to get it right, to get people to work on time. So yeah, I would say that there are definitely elements that are way more efficient. An example of a place where I don't think it's as efficient, this is just my personal opinion, is like things like banking, right? Like, if I go to the bank in Japan, I probably don't see that many computers. I still might have to fill something out by hand, or like I might have to bring like my passport or something to try and confirm like my identity. Like it if I go to my American bank, I bring like maybe a photo ID and my debit or credit card, and they're like, "Oh, hi, like, what's up? Welcome back. How can we help you?" And it doesn't matter if I go to the location that's near or far. If I go to my bank, they know that I have an account with them, so it's not like, "Who are you? Like, let me go talk to somebody. Like let me get my supervisor. Like, what's going on? Like, And when it comes to banking here, and I've heard other people that live in Japan talk about this too.
I know why that is in your case. It's all your own fault because you got tattoos. So they think you got all the gang, and you're from the United States. So you did Gangster's Paradise already in Texas, having the tattoos. Now doing the Yakuza thing in Japan, and now they're scared when you go to a bank, obviously. No, I'm just kidding around. Don't worry about that.
The bank thing is as a source of frustration. It's an example of something that I find very frustrating. And there are several things here, and if you've lived here for a while, like where things will be it's on paper, first of all, so you have to fill out a paper form, and it's time consuming, and it's very strict. It's not like, for example, my legal name is very long. And in the US, I can just abbreviate part of my name in a structured manner, and cool, call it a day. We know who you are, we'll keep things pushing. But here, like, my phone company is like arguing with me, like, no, we can't leave part of your name out because it's your name. And then they try and put the whole thing in there, and then they're like, hold on, there's not enough space. And I'm like, I might have, I think you know what? Never mind.
But I know exactly what you're talking about. Though, however, for those who are interested in the very efficiency on train traveling, actually in Japan, there's a channel called Cougar Travel. Let me just put that in the chat. Cougar Travel. He is a Japanese guy, and he travels everything with public transport available. If it is a train, or if it is a ferry, or if it is whatever thing, and he gives detailed information even on his bus seat. What does it have, if there's anything, and stuff like that. And everything there. So in Germany, there's a thing. Germans are always called out for the German efficiency and all that stuff. Yep. Forget about that stereotype. Just forget about it.
What?
Our on-time rate with trains in Germany last year, 2024. Guess how much in percentage it was?
85 to 90%.
Dreams are my reality. No, 65.
Yo, if you're on my side and you have some coffee money to send over to Ragus, the singing.
No, send the coffee. No, I never get money. The thing is, I don't have boobs, and I'm white, and I'm a man, so forget about it. So, I only get money for mercy every now and then. It is how it is, I talked about that with Eunice Talata, actually, like 2 months ago on a panel. The topic was how female channel hosts should be treated versus the brutal reality. So, and I'm not female, but I invited Eunice Talata to talk about that back then. And it was a very interesting thing, because so when I did this thing with the boobs and stuff like that, a matter of fact, this is what a lot of female channel users are reduced to. And I'm just joking, because I don't do that, but that is what a lot of female channel hosts are reduced to, unfortunately, even though their content is brilliant and they have things to say and stuff like that. But, so obviously it was a joke. What I want to say is, I don't want a coffee. I want my monetization done next week. So start praying, guys. But
if you guys have time to watch a couple minutes on Ragus' channel, he's got some really interesting stuff. Like, if you're into music history, if you're into travel and you're interested in Germany, if you're interested in the perspective of someone who's been an expat before and lived in a different country and had to adjust that, or if you just want some laughs, the jokes keep flowing. So, and that's another thing, because I know some people watch content and then look for places to be offended. So a lot of the jokes and stuff, there's nothing but love and respect behind the humor. So I know some people are a little bit clutching their pearls if someone cracks an edgy joke. Is that okay? An edgier joke? Yeah. But I think there's nothing but love and respect on his channel. So if you go over there and you watch, you'll see what I'm talking about.
This comment says it all from Olga. So,
what it goes to say?
It's Ragus, you is a mess.
I want.
Obviously, that coming from Goga is nothing. There is almost no higher compliment that I could possibly get. So I have to say that. So let me see. Do you feel safe as a woman traveling in Asia? It's a question that comes from Goga.
Yes, actually, I didn't answer Raga's question. I said I was going to answer his question. Then I was going to answer Goga's question. And then I didn't answer Raga's question because we got sidetracked laughing about something else. I have had family visit. So my brother came to visit. That was really cool to be able to show like a family member around, like how we've been living, like where we live, and just like life here. So it's definitely interesting. And then the other thing is like I almost felt like I got secondhand culture shock, because it's like watching someone else see something I'm used to for the first time reminded me again of how I felt when I first came here and I experienced it for the first time. And then to answer Goga's question, I do feel safe here traveling as a woman. I feel safe here traveling alone. I went to the oldest hotel in the world, which is in Yamanashi. They have the little certificate, the Guinness World Record certificate and everything. And it's like out in the past a mountain somewhere, in Japan. Like I drove like over 3 hours to get there. And I was staying at the hotel by myself. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel threatened. The staff took great care of me. I didn't feel like, as a woman, sometimes like I've had experiences where like I feel like people are unnecessarily showing up. Like they're lurking, but like in a menacing way. I haven't experienced a lot of that here. I will say that I've had some weird encounters, like maybe in the bar scene, like people being overly forward. I'm married. I pretty much always wear my ring on the channel. I wear it when I leave the house, and I've had a couple of people be like, "Oh, like I'm trying to talk to you," and I'm like, and they're like, "I'm still trying to talk to you," and I'm like, so I've had that experience a couple times. And then I've also had experiences where there's lurkers, but usually the lurkers or the more aggressive, pushy people are in places like Tokyo, and they're not Japanese. Where it's like the person is pressing interest, and you're like, all right, listen, this conversation's over with. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I have something else I want to do with my day. Please leave me alone. And the person is like not taking no for an answer. And usually it's been in places where there's tourists, and then the person is not Japanese. From the Japanese side, the most pushy thing I've got is like ignoring my ring, which I just find odd.
So Nico says, well, they don't care if you're married. Goga wants to travel to Japan, but obviously, since we all know, and I think you know that already, he got his own presidential airline called Goga Force One. So he even comes with all diplomatic immunity. So, but I think it is really interesting to see that, because I know in a lot of countries in the Western world, regardless of US or Germany or wherever, no, women never really feel safe. And
no, I feel safe in Japan.
Especially not in the nights. And
I feel safe.
Unless you are in a gated community with security or stuff like that. But let's say the ordinary people who live in normal places that are not gated because they cannot afford it, in Germany or in Europe in general, especially a bit more towards Eastern Europe, where crime rate is a bit higher in certain places, not everywhere, of course, but also in Germany, there are incidences that happen, and the so-called heel world of Central Europe and stuff. But I remember when I went to Thailand, and I went there 3 times, I met foreign woman, European woman there, like having a chat in a bar or something. And I said, "You're traveling alone?" She said, yeah, I'm doing backpacking. And they, numerous people I met there, they do backpacking, right? Backpacking in regards of hitchhiking or whatever it's called, these kind of things. without any problem whatsoever. Driving this crazy Thai bus, which was indeed crazy indeed. Don't know if you had that experience, but crazy Thai bus is, oh, Jesus Christ. I was like having a tinnitus after an 8-hour ride back to Bangkok from some village in the middle of Thailand. And I was like, oh, please.
So I probably didn't take the same bus, but we went into the mountains and we visited the white Karen people. And they're like off towards like Myanmar, like towards that border. They're in that part of Thailand, like the location wise in that direction. So we were in Chiang Mai, and then we had to, take the bus ride, maybe like an hour and 30 minutes or more, like off into the mountains and stuff like that. And it was really cool. And I would say in Thailand, I felt safe as well. At least in Chiang Mai, the biggest thing as far as safety in Thailand that I felt was like, I think it's the biggest culture shock. One of the biggest culture shocks I've ever seen. Because like there were people jaywalking, or like I got to ride on the back of the motorcycle out there, and I was just like, this is wild. Like if I adjust my knee, I'm gonna like touch somebody's car. Like we're so inserted in between the cars and traffic. Like if anybody shifts over, like that could be us right there. And like I'm like literally, I'm an overthinker, so I was just like, oh my gosh, like if I fall off, then what happens? Would someone run over me? Like, those are the only things that made me feel like, I guess, nervous or unsafe.
Well, I remember my weirdest experience in Thailand that I had, and thankfully I only had that once. Otherwise, my ears, I would be totally deaf. So I was somewhere also Chiang Mai area, Greater Chiang Mai area, and I went back to Bangkok, right? Because I had to go home 3 days later or something, and I wanted to spend a day or two in Bangkok. So it was an 8-hour drive through the night, and I was like, okay, cool. People awake all day, so they sleep all night, so I can sleep as well. Having my peace, waking up in the morning in Bangkok and stuff.
Right.
That's what I thought.
I feel like
I was proven so wrong. So what really happened was I was in the bus. It was called Crazy Thai Bus. They had this super neon airbrushes all over the place, and it was written Crazy Thai Bus. It was the cheapest option to get to Bangkok fast. And I was like, okay, let's go. There's the Umko Museum, by the way. I sat on this bus, front row, in the bottom, what double-decker buses, and I was like, oh, cool, when they do a break, which I did 2 or 3 of them, obviously, because people have to do what they have to do. So all of a sudden, they put the music on. So far, so good. If it would have been silent, as we usually do that in the Western world where we want to sleep in the bus or something, no, it was karaoke. It was karaoke music. So it was not even the original songs. It was whatever music that was supposed to be. It was in full loud. The volume was on top super maximum. Obviously, Murphy's Law, the speakers were directly above me. I did not have any chance to change a seat because the bus was totally occupied, and I was like, oh Lord. Then I asked the driver, who thankfully spoke English, and I was like, excuse me, is there any chance to lower the sound a little bit? He was like, farang. And I was like, oh Lord, okay. 8 hours.
He was probably wondering why. Oh, welcome back. See, Sophie could be singing on the bus.
Oh, look at that.
I missed that opportunity because the bus I was on, we didn't have music. We didn't have lights or anything.
It was not music. It was torture. It was ear torture. It was really torture. And I tell you something. Hi, Sophie. Welcome back. And by the way, the next water you will see is the toilet video of Rebecca. Just to let you know.
I have to edit it.
On the other hand, I was like, it was really next morning when we arrived in Bangkok, like at I believe 5 a.m. before total total chaos started with traffic again. As you know, it started 5 after 5. I was like, Jesus, I was out in this, I was walking to the hotel. I didn't even bother to take a taxi. It was like a 15-minute walk to calm my ears down. And it was like, it was called Crazy Thai Bus. It was a Crazy Thai Bus. And you know what? The worst thing was, nobody. And so they had microphones down there, karaoke all over the place. Nobody in the entire drive was actually singing. They were freaking sleeping. And it was like, guys, why do we need the music so loud? And the bus driver looked at me, yeah, because people like that. And I was like, Jesus, Lord have mercy over my ears. That was one of the weirdest experiences I ever had in my life.
I missed that bus. I'm disappointed.
Trust me, you're not. You'll be thankful that I did the experience. And I was like, get my tinnitus away again. So,
but you know what else? You know what else though? We almost missed. So we got tattooed whilst there.
Right.
And the tattoo shop, the guy that was like running the tattoo shop, he was like, I know a great elephant experience, and it's ethical and all that. It's like a sanctuary. So these elephants were rescued from like circus or like something where they were having like a really rough life, and then they're put into like a sanctuary. It was really fun. And like that was something that I wasn't expecting. And I thought I caught this moment on my camera. And of course, for some reason, my GoPro didn't catch it. I lost so much footage on that trip. I'm so mad about that. But anyways, there was an elephant, and the guide told us after the fact, oh yeah, she doesn't like females. And I'm like, now I know. But so we were all walking past as a group. So the group that I was with was all men, all male people. I was the only female in the group. And the elephant saw my basket and like reached over the enclosure and we had like these little baskets of pumpkin to feed him. And she grabbed it and she was like trying to like snatch me away. And I was like so enraptured by the elephant. She's so beautiful. And my husband was like, you're about to get carried off.
Yep, that was most likely the first Vogue elephant that you ever met in your life, and most likely the only one. So it was, but these are the things. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe one of the last little stories I remember in 1984 when I was still living in Nigeria. It was Easter Sunday. We were in a place called Yankari Game Reserve, and that is a national park with, big wildlife park where you can just see all the animals walking free. It's a huge area, it's a huge thing. Awesome. No cages whatsoever. So we were living in a little camp there, and not living, we were just there a couple of days, but we were in a little camp there, and it was so great. And Easter Sunday morning, I'll never forget that we were sleeping in some van there, and stuff like that, because parents were too stingy to pay, I don't know, €5 a night for a hotel little hut there or something. So we had the mosquito experience and snoring parents and all that. But there were also monkeys, the pavians running around for free as you do.
Okay.
Easter Sunday, my sister was there visiting from Germany. It was in March '84, I believe, just a couple of months before we went home. And I remember as it was yesterday, she got some Easter egg chocolate things, for Easter, as you do, because you search the eggs. That was the plan. All of a sudden in the morning, I heard my mom screaming, and I thought she was mad at me because I always sneak the food from, after hours, let's say it that way. And then I was like, wow, when I was waking up from that, and I was like, I didn't eat anything last night, so why is she mad at me? Because that's what I always thought first place. No. So I opened my eyes and looked directly, face to face, to a big pavian's eye, eating chocolate chocolate eggs, even with the paper. Look at me. And I was like, and all of a sudden, my mom came with whatever bat and slapped it on the naked ass, as you know. And all of a sudden, the pavian, it didn't even bother to run away. It looked at my mom like, "Ah, you ready now?" Took another egg and left. And I was like, all right, there you go. That is
That's
also how you learn.
crazy. I guess after a while of doing that, because I'm sure this is not the first
No.
experience. I'm sure
They were
this
never
might be-
harmed. And they were never harmed, so they're free. You know, like in Gibraltar, they're the monkeys there as well who steal everything from the tourists. So yeah, obviously they do that, and that's what they do. And at the end of the day, it was fun. But I was like, why always me? I know this is. Hi, bro, how's you doing? That's what I thought. You know, you take the thing and. Stuff like that. So vibes. If you want to, you know, there's cheaper ways to get to cheese rather than smelling your socks. But thanks for the offer. Sorry, I just couldn't resist.
She's complaining. She's complaining.
Video
doesn't want me to make the toilet video.
Yeah. You know, the good thing is after that video, you can give it a name in disguise. Don't call it the video like a Japanese toilet experience. Call it Flush Gordon, Flush. people, she will most likely not see that in the first place.
I could disguise the video. You guys would never know it's the toilet education video. I'll give it a very squeaky clean, clinical, and education in personal affairs or something like that. You know? Like it's something very formal, a formal toilet video, like the art of sitting quietly. You know, I'll come up with a name that's, you know, very cute, you know, just for you. So it'll be cute.
So for those who are now a bit irritated, in the US it's called the powder room. In Germany, we just call it bathroom or toilet, and wherever else in the world you're from. So there's certain technical toppings, so to speak, on what I call the throne things. So there's, you know, may your pot never dry, you know, an abundance thing, whatever thing, you know, never dry in abundance or stuff like that. So if the toilet experience is a total different experience than in Europe or in the US, or most likely anywhere in the Western world. So Ikigai Travelers will not go to the toilet for us, but she will show us the technical opportunities that you have on the throne.
Yeah, Sophie, it's not going to be, you're not actually going to see it. I actually, speaking of losing footage, because I said I lost some of the footage from Thailand. When I went to the poop museum, I asked the girl there to hold my camera and record because you're supposed to pretend to poop in order to get your souvenir. And she tried to record it, and I think she must have deleted the shot by mistake. Because my camera, if you hold the record button, it deletes the video. But I would have posted it. In fact, you guys, so you know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the poop museum video after this. Even Sophie. Even so, it was cute. It's cute. I think it's funny. I mean, it was a once in a lifetime type thing. I don't know what happened to Ragus. Let me see whether or not he left me a message. Okay. He said he'll be right back. But yeah, you got to go back and watch the video. In fact, the poop museum even had where you can. No, hold on. I'm telling you, this was super cute. So what you could do is they had this fuzzy poop, and you could pat it, and it had a name. Okay, they had named the poop. You could pat it, and then it like wags its tail. Go watch the poop video that's already on my channel. I was just talking about the poop that wags its tail. It's in the poop video that I already posted.
Yeah. So again, we are not talking about any crazy fetishes, just to make sure. So, but funny enough, there's an equivalent in Berlin called the Klo. Das Klo. The Klo is a German word for toilet. So if you go there, and this bar really exists, so it is like you sit on toilets, you have your urinals and all that stuff in the bar, but you don't do business on those toilets, obviously. But they flush water and all that stuff. So you don't sit that you get wet or something, and it's not toilet that you use as a toilet. But the whole bar's concept is that it looks like kind of a public bathroom. You sit there, you have your beer, you have your stuff, you have your food, but you sit on toilets, and the tables are a bit like makeup tables in the public bathroom and stuff like that. It's very funny. I'll send you the link later, or I put it
That's
on the tweet.
wild.
It's funny. I've been there. Trust me, it's funny. It's most likely as funny as your poop museum over there when you don't expect those things. It's called the toilet. So just using the English. No, it's not food in the toilet, Sophie. It's just like the making up of stuff. It is so funny. And I have to say, Berlin, either you like it or you hate it. Yeah. But that was more the way funniest experience I ever had. I have to say, it was so funny because everyone was. So it's mostly for tourists, to be honest. Berlin people don't go to such places, but it is like you sit there on the, not on the toilet, like but it's closed, obviously. But all of a sudden there's some vibrations, or you have some water and flushing there and stuff like that. So it's all with drains. It's all connected to water and stuff. You don't get wet, obviously, but it is so funny. It is so funny to have those kind of things going on because you don't expect that. These are the things that that you are going to witness only if you are curious enough to go inside once the door is open, right? So
yeah, I would go.
Yeah.
I would absolutely go. I'm just like, as I'm imagining, as you're speaking about it, I'm imagining it, and I just think it would just be one of those places everybody would be like, where did you go? Where was that? Like, what is that? Sophie said, she said something, I'm not moving to Toiletville, Japan, thanks though. Toiletville, I think that's what you were saying. It's just the one museum. The museum is located in Tokyo. So it's like, or they have like a ball pit, but with poops in it, like poop emoji poop in it.
A ball pit. No, I'm getting scared.
You gotta go. Okay, guys, go watch the video. Okay, I'm telling you, go watch the video. Everything's cute. But what it made me think of is, as you were talking, it's like you're talking about Berlin, and I'm thinking about Germany, and I think before moving to Japan, I was actually consuming a lot of content about Germany. Mm-hmm. But it was because YouTube, you just like how we came across each other, sometimes you just stumble upon people's channels.
Yeah.
And so I stumbled upon this guy's channel. He's an American who's a professional ballet dancer who lives in Stuttgart. And he was training with the Stuttgart Ballet, and then he ended up getting a contract. And I guess once he became a professional dancer, maybe he was too busy because he hasn't really posted in a while. But his content was really cute. I really liked it. Had like a fun, almost like retro feel to the way that he edited his content. His name is Tristan Simpson, if anyone wants to look him up, because it just had he had like house plants, and he had like this little quirky way of dressing, and it was just a fun, and he was showing some of the areas in Germany around Stuttgart, and I thought, oh, this is really cool. And then
but then again, Stuttgart is one of the most ugliest towns where you could possibly live in Germany, to be honest. But
really?
Yeah, it's not that nice. Especially when you compare places like Hamburg. Hamburg is for me even more beautiful than Munich, because Hamburg got the Hamburg is surrounded by water, very near to the ocean, very near to the sea, in the north of Germany. And I live in the mountains, actually in the south, near to Austria. So it's not bad. Munich is a very beautiful town, so don't get me wrong. I'm living here 22 years, but in the end of the day, it is really, but Stuttgart is like, yeah, when the surroundings are nicer than the town itself. It's kind of a city. Well, comparing to
Yeah.
the United States, it's a village, most likely you would call it. But um, then again, it is nice. It is okay. But if you go to the town center, it is not very. You don't really feel like it's a nice place to be invited to be honest, because it's just like, well,
What?
everything. No, it is just my personal feelings about certain places in the
Okay.
world that I've been. I'm not dissing anyone, whatever. But
Right.
the Stuttgart would not necessarily, let's say, but be my first choice of living. Though the cultural aspect in Stuttgart, they have a lot of theaters there. Actually, they have a wonderful opera ensemble, actually, and that is most likely where the ballet dancer is part of. So I think it is not too bad for him, obviously.
Yeah.
But
He shows
if you,
himself going to the market, like
Hmm,
and just like his apartment and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is cute. Maybe he didn't show enough for me to, because also when you're making content, there's some pressure to
hmm,
romanticize. Like if you're like, yeah, this is the least attractive town in my country, and I don't know why I'm showing you, but I have to post something. People are gonna be
yeah.
like, so you kind of have to, hype
Yeah,
it
but
up
then
a little
again,
bit.
everything these days is content. So if you want to gain your watch hours, do a short a day of whatever you do, right? You steal
Yeah,
a cup of coffee, you have a short of 30 seconds. Done. And you have viewers, and viewers come to your channel. That is how it works. But these days, everything is content. And that is why even a little boy of 5 years holding a smartphone in his hand the first time, um, showing himself putting a chewing gum out of an ATM or something, is a content creator all these days. So that is what we do. So um, I think we are in 2.5 hours, and I think we
yep,
should leave maybe some material for next time, because
yeah,
otherwise otherwise we can also do next time. We can sit here in awkward silence for 2.5 hours or something for next time, and doing that. Um,
yeah. We'll do one of the sleeping streams. Like it'll just be.
okay, this is the last topic for me today.
Okay.
I discussed that on Goga's channel 5 weeks ago when I was having the very honor being his panel guest on his Sunday service. By the way, guys, today Sunday service. Don't forget to tune in, and it's you will most likely be you're sleeping, Rebecca, but it's like early evening European time. Goga Sunday service definitely worth to watch every week, especially of course 5 weeks ago when I was there. But we strived exactly that topic. When people sit there on their channels, and I mean, obviously, I did loops as well because of my watch hours and everything, but they sit there, and I mean, they just sit there, and they
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but you know what is the worst? They get super chats.
They get super chats and they get tons of views. Like there'll be like 1,000 people in the comment section, and I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
because when I do content, I try and like check on the chat and see how like my people are doing. Like I care to check on everybody and see how everybody's doing.
true.
But
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying these people who are sleeping don't care, but it's like for whatever reason, the community structure is just, and people are okay with that.
yeah,
And
but at the end,
I'm just mad because I don't think I can
but,
pull it off.
sometimes people just sit there. And I mean, so obviously, we are all human beings. We fall asleep. Those things happen. But
Yeah.
there are people in certain areas of this world, they do that on purpose. I mean, they sit there, they never do anything else, but just sitting there on their live streams. They don't have any other content whatsoever. And, and I was like, wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Yeah, Goga, it is including sleeping, but not only sleeping. That is not content. And with the new regularities upcoming on Tuesday from YouTube, most likely those channels will get demonetized because they sit there and there's one lady. Sorry, this is rude, but this is part of the story. There's one
Right?
lady
It's
who
like, wake up!
no, there's one lady who I personally call Pancake Face because she looks like a pancake. And she got this little red dot here, most likely not because of a sniper, but because there's a red dot, right? And so my sense of humor. So so she would like she sat there. Her face, her chin did not even touch the chest. Her head was even too lazy to go down to the chest. It just went like, and it was not a green screen. It was a real live thing. She started snoring, and I know I do snore, but I don't snore on camera. She started like a deep contrabass singer, and I was like, huh?
I know, Toby.
And then came the super chats, and I was like, wait a second, what? And I'm not talking about $1. I'm talking from $25 upwards, not counting the smaller ones. She got like 6, 7, 8, 9 super chats within 15 minutes. And I was like, why do I even do anything what I think has value on my channel whatsoever? And she just sits there, and her chin doesn't even go to the chest because the head is so lazy. And I was like, what? Okay.
I can just imagine you coming over to your channel virtually. My God.
I mean, I'm always joking around when I see you washing your dishes, right? Because that is how we met in the first place, and it is a joke. But you are alive, you're breathing. You know, you don't pretend to be dead or something, and that funeral service will come and pick you in a minute or something like that. So I was like, I was really like, someone call the ambulance. And a week later, I caught her standing. She was standing. But that was only because she started her iPhone or her phone with a live stream, and then she sat down, same position as always. You cannot tell me that someone is meditating 10 hours in a row. That is not possible. But
so you know how JR called you boss in another chat? That's like a American friendly greeting. It's like a respect, but like a very casual, like friendly. It's a positive.
Yeah, I got that in the first place. Yeah.
From the technical sense, like an actual supervisor, like I'm about to start calling you shift leader Ragus or like supervisor. Listen, you're about to like, I can just imagine you with your YouTube clipboard sleeping again.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you go through those channels, you know, when you wipe your screen when you swipe your screen on your phone and everything, that is how I ended up in your channel that day. And when I considering, I mean, you were active, you know, obviously, it was morning for you. You did your things and everything. You know, we had a chat and stuff. And as you said, you like to be interactive with the people who are watching you.
Yeah, because I love my community, you know, as I feel like you should. And I feel like the same for you. Like you're always talking to everybody because it's like, you know, I would feel like I'm missing something if I'm sleeping on them.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the point is that if you consider, I mean, everyone wishes to be rich by sleeping, right? And Goga, I'm afraid you have to repeat your question. Wait a second. Here we go. I got it. So Goga is asking, and this is the last question for today. Rebecca, Asia is a popular space for spiritual seekers. Have you had any of those experiences? Temple, shrine, monks, etc. Goga is, and before you answer, just a warning. Goga is looking for a space to sleep for free when he comes over to Japan, so that he can pretend it's only for a spiritual trap. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, places to sleep and hotels and stuff. should be a whole separate. Let's save that for next live stream.
Yes.
But as from the standpoint of spirituality, I've mentioned a couple of times on my channel, I am a Christian. So based on my personal beliefs, when I visit shrines and stuff, I visit from a historical and cultural aspect, because I want to learn about the place where I'm at. Like a lot of the shrines and temples and stuff that are here have been here for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So I have visited some places like that. Probably my favorite place to visit such historical places with historical and religious significance is Kamakura. But Japan is full of stuff like that, where you can visit shrines, you can visit temples. Shrines are actually like very common. Like there's shrines close by to my house. But then there's the ones that are very popular that everybody visits on social media and like repost. And then the other thing that I feel like is not quite as popular as shrines is also castles. And I think like when people are wanting like, you know, I want history, I want culture, I want to show that I really like visited some place that has some significance and it's like unique to Japan. I think like those are the places that people tend to visit. So yes, I've definitely visited some of them, and they're on the channel that I've posted. But yeah, I think maybe we should wrap it up and save some for next time. I've got lots of laughs. I really appreciate Ragus. I know he mentioned earlier in the stream that he is very, very close to meeting his watch time.
I'll have it tomorrow.
Yeah,
I can apply tomorrow. There's 18 hours left, and I know they counted back from 5 days. Thursday I was very busy. Wednesday I was very busy. Yeah, done.
Yeah.
Consider
so if anybody has
the question is what would happen on the application.
If anyone has time, I think that everybody should hop over and show some support and some love, just to double down, make sure that YouTube can't, you know, have any qualms, and just also as a thank you from our side, our community, because we've kind of integrated our communities here to include. Are we still mad about the poop?
I think. Most likely, Sophie. We never talked unless this week when we coincidentally met in Rebecca's channel. But I have to say, this is most likely the best closer ever that I have read in the chat somewhere on a panel discussion. We just go celebrate our pool parties now, and oh, that was awesome. You have a wonderful day, Sophie. It was nice to be seeing you again. Enjoy church. Yeah. So would you like to say your final words first so that I can then wrap it up?
Just please go show the World of Ragus some love. I really appreciate all of the time that he put into preparing for this and helping host this. And yeah, let's show some love on his channel too. And for my community, I appreciate you guys, especially everybody getting up early. Lots of love for you guys as always.
All right, so it's been quite some time now, almost 2:45, 2 hours 45. So final thoughts from me, and some organizational things to come from my side, my channel. First of all, Rebecca, thanks a million. It was fun. And about the preparation, guys, I can reveal now, we didn't really prepare anything at all because we had wonderful conversations before. And as far as I see, it went exactly as we both were hoping for, having a conversation rather than this stiff Q&A thing that we all know from so many other people. And it is really great having that. By the way, I've learned this methodology or this kind of channel activity from Goga. And so Goga, thank you for not complaining me doing something not similar, because yours, of course, is like really, really great, obviously, and you do that for a long time. But having a panel guest every now and then is always great. Rebecca, aka I need a beer. Ikigai Travelers, guys, connect to her channel, please, if you haven't done so already. Please leave a comment on her videos and show some love. And also, I'm really, really grateful for the time that you did. A couple of organizational things before I end the stream. Well, let me have a look who we're going to raid to, actually. I've almost forgotten that one. I would have been, I would have been manslaughtered by the president himself if I wouldn't raid this wonderful chat, obviously. So, couple of organizational things. Don't forget this afternoon, Sunday service with Goga. And we have Simone TV there on screen today, and that would be indeed a good fun to do and a good thing to do. Also, please don't forget to be good and with a challenge for this month. Goga has given us some very good information on the new features that are there. Also, don't panic too much about the new things that are coming starting on July the 15th. The only person that has to panic is myself, because the question is, do I get monetized, yes or no? And on the other hand, I have a new track coming out on Tuesday with it's called Beating Anxiety. So it's Tuesday, 7 p.m. Also watch Rebecca's videos. They're awesome. I mean, if you want to learn more about living in Japan, not as from a tourist perspective, go to her channel and watch it. Again, subscribe, show some love. And yeah, so last but not least, I have set the raid to Bozede, because she is online and she can do with a bit more than some trolls only. So as we all know, trolls is the thing that we all don't like. That is an advantage of a man as a channel host, because usually you don't get these trolls unless they complain about certain video contents, but that's to be discussed on another channel. So I will set the raid real quick. Bear with me 1 second, and then we can do the usual procedure to fly over all the way to Nigeria and say hello to Bozede Joseph. As we know the procedure, maybe you would like to stay like for at least 5 minutes so that Bozede gets some love as well. I would like to thank you, Rebecca, so much for your time. Say hello to Mr. Invisible. Wish you both a nice Sunday evening, and all the best. Get better soon, and thank you for staying up that long, even though you're a little bit fit. And most of all, good luck on your first day tomorrow, right, in the new job. And
I'll let you guys know how it goes.
And as we know, as we say, we see in the streets, and wishing you all a great Sunday in the bushes, in the streets, wherever you watch us from. This was Ikigai Travelers from Japan and myself from Germany. Happy Sunday, everyone, and thanks for coming. See you soon. Bye.
See you. Bye.